Welcome back to Clear Talk. On this episode, we have the greatest episode in Clear Talk history. We started strong with the two breakthroughs I had over the weekend that helped me overcome my own lack of self-discipline, how to regain that again.
We talk about the first devil you're going to meet with success and how to overcome it.
How to handle heated arguments in an 8-step process.
And then me and Armin get into a heated debate about whether or not you should apologize when you think you've done something wrong.
I want to know in the comments below which one you think was right, me or Jeanette. You ready, Jay?
Let's go.
Enjoy the show. Welcome back to Clear Talk. I'm your host, Armin Shaffi, and this is my co-host,
Jeanette Oduro.
And this is the #1 show for entrepreneurs who need clarity. You go to askarmin.com and post your questions, submit them to get it answered live on the show every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on this show right here, the Clear Talk Show. And we'll help you out if you're an entrepreneur, if you're looking to start a business and you need some advice, you need some perspectives, you need some experience, maybe some mentorship. If you already have a business, you want to take it to the next level, take your mindset to the next level, because we all know your business is a reflection of yourself. So if your self is, limited, then your business won't grow. So if you're looking for some valuable information, credible sources of, perspectives and ideas that can actually work and that are tested and proven, and all you got to do is go to askarmin.com, submit your questions, you'll get thousands of dollars worth of free coaching from me and Jeanette on this show, the Clear Talk Show. So this is exciting. What just happened?
So we're setting up everything this morning. Typical Monday, getting everything ready to go. I think it was at about 11:40.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That we hear a whoop whoop, or that's not the correct sound. It's like a
I think whoop whoop is for something else.
That's a different sound. But it's like a and the fire alarm goes off. So immediately I'm like, okay, is this a drill or is this real? We asked the front desk and they're like, this is not a drill. This is not a drill. Please exit the building. I had to get my fire marshal hat and we went outside.
Yeah. And as we're standing outside, I take pictures for as an ad, Everything's a creative ad idea. I'm taking pictures, and I took a picture next to the fire truck, and I'm like, I set my business on fire with one presentation online. What a crazy idea. Hilarious. And then it starts raining.
And then it rained, yeah.
And it starts raining. And Lauren took her laptop. I'm like, you brought your laptop? She's like, yeah, I'm going to work. And I'm like, that's good. And it started raining. She's like, no. And she's like literally wiping off the screen of her laptop. I'm like, you should not work now, know? And then we got in Isaiah's car, and we're just sitting there, and it was great. It was we found all the good in it.
Good time.
We came back. So that's why we're starting the show at this time today. But yeah, it's exciting times.
Awesome.
So good show.
For all of my Instagram people,
we got a new audience today.
We're actually going live on my Instagram as well. So if you wanted to check out Clear Talk, you don't always have to go to Armin's page, but you can also come to my Instagram page and stay tuned for the show. I'm trying to look at every
focus
camera
on
now.
YouTube right here. So first of all, if you're on YouTube and you like valuable content on entrepreneurship, growing yourself, your mindset, and growing, achieving your goals in your business, then hit that subscribe button and hit that little notification bell, ding, 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 so that YouTube can let you know when we go live and when we post new videos, and I bring out valuable training videos for you guys as well for free. If you're on Facebook, then put your face in a book, and I want you to no, don't do that. I want you to take a share challenge. I want you to hit that share button right now so that some people can hop on and watch the show with us live, and maybe even get their questions answered live on the show. And make sure you hit that like or heart or care or button. Any of them are good. I like rainbows on the screen, so make sure you hit it out. It helps us out with the show and helps us keep going on for you guys. And if you're on Instagram, and you can shout us to your Instagram, if you're on Jeanette's Instagram, then send this as a DM to somebody that might need to check it out. We post a live for 24 hours afterwards, and then we post the YouTube video of this, the edited version of it, on YouTube within about 48 hours. So you can always catch the edited episode of this live show right here on YouTube. All you got to do is go to YouTube and put in Clear Talk with Armin, and you will literally have the entire playlist show up. So one of our most popular episodes right now is how to use sex to achieve your goals. And obviously it sounds It's not exactly that. You know, it's more like to capture attention. But when you go inside, it explains sex transmutation. That was a really good episode. Yeah. So it's having a lot of heat and fire right now. That's why the fire truck's showing up. So before we get into questions today, we got some really cool questions here to ask that I'm going to answer with Jay. Quick little story time. So story time with Armin. Hashtag story time with Armin. This will be really cool. So two things happened over the weekend, and it shifted me. So one thing is I started to notice that my personality started to shift. You know, my personality's changed over time. I would say over the last 2 months, my personality has like deviated away from like what I genuinely am as a person. And in my character, my truest personality, I'm a very like warm, loving person. I'm always having fun. I'm positive about things. Things don't really bug me out as much. But over the last 2 months, I've allowed like very mild anxiety, like very mild. Like I mean, like I'm like irritated. I've allowed irritation, anxiety, stress, and things to bug me to get to me. And this was never like I've never been like that.
Never, yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm sitting down over the weekend, and I'm having this serious. Actually, you know what the trigger was? We had a movie night with the team, and we watched Creed. And Creed put me in a motivational state. So I'm driving home listening to the Creed theme song, and I'm like, man, I admired his persistence, his dedication, his level of desire in the movie. Yeah. And I'm like, I had that level of desire in January when I turned everything around for myself after depression. So I'm like, what happened? Like, it faded away a little bit. So I sat down and had a real talk with myself at home. Like, I sat there and I worked out from 12 a.m. when I got home to 2 a.m. I had the craziest, leg workout. I got a whole new workout. And I went back to the basics, the fundamentals of what made me who I am right now, which is the capacity to always do better. And what I mean by that is, like, most of us, we do the very least we can, and we expect to get the most we can out of that. Yeah. Some people call that lazy. Some people call that just, maybe you just don't do your best. But I realized I started slipping back into, like, trying to just get by. And I'm like, man, this is a terrible habit. Mm-hmm. So I sat there and I'm like, how am I doing this in some areas of my life? So I took the one area I can control, which is my fitness. And I'm like, I've been working out still consistently for the last 7 months. But the problem is now I'm working out and I'm like trying to just get it done. You know what I mean? Like when they're like, oh, it's just one more set left. You know when he said, like, oh, just one more set. And I'm like, what? When I used to work out in January, I used to drive to the gym playing Avengers music going, throw me in the gym, watch what happens. That's what I used to say. And I would go and I'm like, these weights aren't ready for me. Yeah. See the amount of dedication I had. So I'm sitting down, I'm like, what happened to me? Why did this move? Why did this change? And I realized, I'm like, you know what? It's comfort, man. It's like whenever you get a certain level of success, this is the first little devil you got to face. The moment you get a little bit of momentum and you get some results, you start to get complacent, man. Complacency is a serious poison. Yeah. Because what happens is you start getting comfortable where you're at and you don't want to improve anymore. Yep. And the capacity to want to grow and improve yourself is what keeps you going. So my capacity for improvement started to diminish. It was like, it's okay. I'm already like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been. So why work out any harder? Yeah. This is the problem. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got to change this like right now. So I'm like, here's a great question. Here's a good question. If you're stuck in life right now, if you're stuck in your business right now, if you're just stuck and you're like, how do I break out? Here's a great question to ask yourself. What is the most difficult thing you could do right now that you for sure don't want to do? And I sat there at 12 a.m. I'm like, what's the most difficult thing I could do right now to prove to my mind that I'm in charge here? I'm like, if I did it, and I hate like workout days because it just feels weird, man. Working out your legs feels weird. I hate them, but I love them because it's the hardest body part. And that day was leg day. Yeah. And I skipped it in the morning. I didn't do it. Yeah. So I'm like, am I gonna go to bed and like be okay with like skipping the day of working out? I'm like, no. What's the most difficult thing I could do right now? I'm like doing a workout, but not just doing the regular workout. I always do like 4 workouts. I quickly do squats and like I get over it fast. I'm like, let me get a whole new workout. So I go on YouTube, I find a new workout from this guy. It was a crazy leg workout. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a brand new workout. It's hard, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I sweat. Man, I was sweating by the end of it. At 145, I'm like, damn, I feel amazing. Like, I just really did something that was difficult. And that was like Armin 1, bad habits 0. You know what I mean? Like, it was like 0, Armin 1. That's what I did. Yeah. So I went to bed feeling great, and I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, I didn't work this hard so that I can just throw it all away by slipping into drifting, slipping into complacency. And I made a decision. I'm like, you know what? Moving forward, I'm going to go back to like what I fundamentally believed, which is if I could do better, I should. Absolutely. Remember I came into the room with you guys one time? Yeah. I'm like, all I want you to do is at the end of the day, ask yourself, did I do my best? Could I have done better? Yeah. If the answer is yes, tomorrow do better. Do better moving forward. If the answer is no, you absolutely believe you did your best, then great, good job. Yeah. Now beat that again tomorrow. So I stopped doing that. And just to give you a very in-depth understanding of like how you do that is I started to go from conscious thinking where like I'm fully in control of my thoughts and fully in control of my decisions. I feel like I'm in control. Like I have my hands on the wheel. Yeah. I went from that to just kind of never doing that and slipping into just going with the flow. That's actually what the transition feels like from going from like you're in control to drifting. I realized that. So I'm grateful it happened because I caught it again. And I'm like, oh, that's how it happens. The moment I start to not decide things for myself, like not decide to do something or not do something, the moment I stop making decisions, definitely, I slip back into just being okay with anything, settling with whatever happens. And then you start losing your disciplines. So that's story number one. I went back to like, I worked out at night. I'm like, what's the hardest thing I could do now? Wake up in the morning and work out. And just worked out. Yeah. So I woke up in the morning, I worked out. And I had a really good chest workout and I killed it. And I really pushed myself. And I'm like, I feel great, man. And I ate really clean because I was starting to like, I only have one cheat meal a week. Yeah. I started to like, I'm like, it's okay. Let me get some bread here. See, that's what happens. One bad decision attracts more and it attracts more. And meanwhile, soon enough, you realize all the bad habits are back. Absolutely. This happens slowly, man. It comes in like a dead poison. Yeah. So if you're running a business right now, if you're a CEO, if you're whatever, if you want to, you got to master this thing. If you don't master it, it will kill your success. Because I could have easily drifted back into being like a drifter again. I could have easily slipped back into like not being the person worthy enough to run a business like this.
Absolutely.
So that's breakthrough number one. I went back to discipline. Yeah, go ahead.
Fine. Awesome. Like another question I would ask yourself in that moment, which I've been asking myself as well, is for the last, let's say, from May, June, and July, I decided to do like a 90-day, let's say, focused effort where I would deliberately cut out certain things and then only focus on other things as well. So that 90 days is coming to an end at the end of July. And I'm like, okay, Jeanette, what's next? I was like, we can't keep it up. I've got to bump it up. So I kind of had the same thoughts. And I was like, okay, Jeanette, like, what can we do? What can we change? And a question that I asked myself was, what did I do like in my past when I was working at my most effective? And I was thinking back on it, I was like, okay, well, I wasn't doing this, I was doing this, I wasn't doing this, I was doing this. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to that. So, for example, it's like one of the things I was thinking about was like drinking. I was like, I will have a glass of wine periodically throughout the week. But I'm like, the last time that I was sober, completely sober, didn't have a drink for 3 years, was the 3 years that I had the most growth. So I was like, you know what, Jeanette, for the next 90 days, like into the next period that I'm going through, I'm not going to drink again and see how that happens. Like, actually, like, that's one of the examples. There's many, many more, but that's one. So, and as well as Armin's question to, like, ask yourself, what's the hardest thing that I could do right now? I would also ask, what did I do when I felt my best, when I was working my best? Yeah. What specific things did I do at that moment that I could bring back to this moment? Yeah. So,
that's a good point. That's the first thing I thought, which was, she's right. Like, the first step was, what was I doing before that worked? And I'm like, I was pushing myself 24/7. Yeah. Like, I was not afraid of the pain or the challenge. Mm-hmm. So then I asked myself, well, what's the hardest thing I could do now so I can go back to that
would be the next step. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. You got to remember, every time I feel pain during a workout, I think I've already told you guys a long time ago, fitness is the easiest hack to learning how to discipline yourself. Because there's physical results. You feel good. It's the easiest dopamine hit to your body where you feel amazing about it. And it's like, if you can accomplish a good workout where you sweat and push yourself, it's the easiest way to control your mind, because your mind is going to try to, scurry off in the middle of workouts and like do less. And if you can tame your mind in the battlefield of a workout, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's true.
It is the easiest way to develop discipline in your business. Like, dare I say, eventually I just want to be like, how to grow your business and get rich by getting fit. Like, I mean, that's what I mean, though.
But it's true.
It seems so unrelated, but it's so related. Like, the way you treat yourself in the battlefield of a workout is the way you're going to treat challenges in your business, the way you're going to treat your relationships when it gets hard. And here's this tiny philosophy I have in the middle of workouts when it starts burning. There's two things. My sensei back in the day when I used to do Kung Fu, he used to tell me the training starts when it burns, when it starts to burn. So that's number one. It's always in the back of my mind. So until I feel pain in my workout, I'm not really working out. Until I break a sweat, I'm not working out. But the real thing I say to myself in the moment is, I'm not working out to avoid pain.
Yeah.
That seems so ridiculous. I'm not working out to avoid pain. I'm working out to get it.
To get pain, yeah.
So I'm like, why am I trying to avoid the pain?
The pain will come.
The pain's supposed to be there. So when I think about that, I go, oh, so I got to push harder, because the goal is to increase the level of pain because my muscle's actually getting the workout then.
Very true.
So it's like, but in business, that's it. Like, am I trying to avoid the work? No. I started a business to get the work.
Yeah.
You start the business to get to work, not to avoid work. Some of you are like, oh, but Armin, I want to start a business to sit on a beach. You're doing it for the wrong reasons. Listen, 1 out of a million people will start a business and actually go sit on a beach. And they'll realize that was the dumbest thing they could have ever wanted because they're bored now and they're unfulfilled and they don't want to get back to work. So you could be that one person, no problem. But the 999,000 people, 99, whatever, they realize they're starting a business to work harder.
Yeah.
Not to work
less.
Yeah. You want to work less? Get a job. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if it makes sense, it makes
dollars.
I can say this now because she's here. Shout out to all my elite speakers.
ESSA grads, everybody knows about dollars.
All right, you don't start a business to work less. So that's what I realized. I'm like, oh my God, I'm letting myself slip, man. And then I went into my old pictures. I found a picture of myself in January. I had like little, you know, is that a bad word? Are you gonna blank that out, Isaiah?
Maybe.
Sorry, guys. I didn't know. This is a new area for me.
Pecs. Just say pecs.
No. I had a little man breast. That's scientifically.
Sure.
Boobs. Man boobs. I had moobies.
There you go.
I had moobs, okay? Man boobs.
Takes a strong man to admit.
I admit it. I don't care. I admit it. They're like, I saw a picture of my body, and I was in January. I had eaten a lot in December. I remember I was going through depression, so I was eating my sorrows. And my body was like just so out of shape. And I looked at the picture and I fast forward to March, 3 months only. And I'm literally like muscular. And then I went to May, which is like 2 months later. So only 5 months or 6 months, whatever. I see a picture of myself. I'm like, whoa. I'm literally fit. Like my abs are there. Everything's defined. I looked at that, guys. You know how motivating it was to know that in my life, my whole life, I struggled with always wanting to just abs alone. I'm like, I've always wanted to have abs. I'm like, why is it so hard? Why do I feel like it's a spiritual journey that like I will never be able to attain? I'm like, it's just get yourself to work.
Yeah.
Stick to it and you'll get it. And so it was a childhood dream of mine always to have a really like a superhero body. And I looked at the transformation, I'm like, from January to now, look at the picture. And I looked at it and it was a spiritual thing for me. It was a moment. I looked at it and I'm like, I did this.
Yeah.
And why did I do it? Because of the way I thought. Not because of the work comes after. The thinking was first. So the way I thought about it, I'm like, I didn't let anything penetrate my mind. I didn't get comfortable. I didn't slip into comfort. I didn't slip into complacency. I didn't just do at least I could. I did the best I could every single time. That's why I got this. So I reintegrated those fundamentals in my life again, and I feel amazing. Like the weekend was incredibly productive. I finished all of module 4 on Saturday alone, 7 hours straight in front of my computer. I finished everything because I was procrastinating. Why? I was procrastinating because this mindset, man, this stinking thinking came in my head. I'm like, let me try to use the machine, you know? And you're like, you don't want it to work. And so you are dreaming if you think you can be really good at one place in life and not in others.
Yeah.
No. If you get bad in one place in life, it's going to affect the others.
Yeah.
First breakthrough I had. Second breakthrough. I'm listening to Grow Rich Peace of Mind. We're getting into questions.
Yeah.
I'm listening, but this is like really important. I want someone, even one person who watches this and to get a breakthrough from this, what I'm saying, is going to change everything. By the way, everyone on Facebook, Instagram, hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. We appreciate, we love you. We're here because of you. Or else we're just talking to a bunch of cameras and phones. So we're really happy you're watching because it's, this is for you guys, Yeah. And secretly, it's actually also so I have footage of this. In the future, I could always look back. I vlogged myself for 142 days once. I don't care if anyone watched it. No one watched it. But I have it on YouTube now, private, and no one can see. I could always look back and see myself when I was a young man.
It's like, what word is he going to put in here?
I was thinking of a couple words. Anyway, so second breakthrough I had. I was watching Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. I was listening to it. I'm reading it for the second time now, okay? There's a part in the riches. There's 12 riches that Napoleon talks about you need to have in your life. And 3 of them I'm working on. I'm still working on the last riches, by the way, is money. So I'm still working on that. I want more money than I have. So I'm working on that. So I'm like, let me focus on it. I'm doing that by working hard every day. The second riches was like I think it was like the capacity for like, man, there was 3 riches I'm like, I got to work on. Oh, self-discipline in all areas of life. And I'm like, well, I'm working on that still because not every area of life do I have discipline. I have discipline in a lot of my areas of life.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't have discipline in some of them, and that means all of them is not mastered in discipline. So I'm like, I'm still working on that one. In all situations, he says, discipline in all situations. And the last one was willingness to share your blessings with others. And I have to be really honest with myself. I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and I'm like, do I share my blessings with others? Now, I learned about it. I actually was reading this morning. I learned more, and I actually do. But when I read it at that time on Friday, it was Saturday or Friday. It was Saturday, so 2 days ago, that I'm recording this live right now. I'm like, I don't give away like money. I'm very like self-focused in that sense. In terms of like my business, when it grows and stuff, money always stays inside. You know, I never give away money. Like I don't really. I have before, but I'm like, it's been a while since I thought about like charity or something like that. And I'm like, you know, I would love to do that. I'm not experiencing the riches of the willingness to share my blessings with others. Now, do I share my blessings in other ways? Because I learned it this morning. There's 3 ways to share your blessings: sharing your skills and your talents, sharing your ideas, and then sharing money. Okay, so I share my skills and my talents. I mentor younger people than me starting out, and I mentor them, and I have no gain out of it. I just literally go on and I just answer questions. This is a form to me of giving as well. Like I don't need to do the show. I really don't. Like we could run our entire business without doing any of this stuff. But the mentorship I give to kids, and sometimes I'll meet people and I'll coach them for free because I know they're in a really rough spot and I don't really need to profit off them, and so I coach for free. So I've done that. Do I share my blessings? Yes, in terms of time, effort, and skills.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 other ways of doing it. But I'm like, I don't give money away. So you know what happens? I'm working that night, and I'm just going to give you an insight. In my business, we run ads. We just started learning how to run ads a month and a half ago. So in the last 2 weeks, we have actually been running ads and spending money, but no sales calls have been booked. Like no booked calls have happened. No one booked strategy sessions to talk to me and learn about my program. So I'm like, we've been spending ads money for like thousands of dollars for the last two weeks, and nobody's booked a call, which means no leads have come in, no prospects. 2 weeks. Like 1 or 2 booked a call, but they were unqualified. It was like wrong number, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we haven't had any sales strategy calls. Okay, so I'm like, it's so weird. So anyways, that night, I'm like, I was trying to figure it out. I was looking at the ads. I was figuring it out. Okay, that night it was like 12 a.m. and I was really hungry, so I go to this place where it's one of my favorite Greek places. And I go to buy food there, but you need to get cash. So I go to TD. There's a TD like in the same plaza. And I walk in, and as I park in front of the TD, I get out of my car, and there's like this homeless guy like literally inside the bank, sleeping on the ground. He's inside the bank in the, when you walk, it's like 2 doors. It's like an entrance and an entrance to the ATMs. He's like right there. And I'm like, this is a little uncomfortable because he's right there, but he's sleeping. I don't think he's even awake to like get up and ask for stuff. So I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, I didn't notice, but I know I'm like, he's right there. It's a little uncomfortable. He has a bag next to him. So I walk past them and I go to the ATM and I pull out $20 because it's the minimum, and that's all I need to buy food from this place. It's like $15. But I'm like, something just randomly, stay with me with the story, because at that time when I wasn't thinking about this guy. I realized he's there and I let it go in my mind. Something I'm like, and here's the reason I did it. I'm like, I just hit $40 instead of 20. I did $40 to withdraw money, okay? Why? Because I'm like, I usually never have cash on hand. Sometimes you guys want something or I want to buy like a vending machine. I don't have money on me. I always have my credit card. So I pull out $40 for that reason. Because I genuinely, I'm like, I want cash money in my pocket. Yeah. Not young money cash money. I mean like cash in my pocket. Sorry.
I didn't see that. Wow.
They're like modern day dad jokes.
Young money, cash money. That was good. That was a good one.
So I put $40 in my pocket and I ignore the guy and I walk out. And I don't ignore him because he's a bad person. I just generally don't think about it.
Yeah.
So I go and buy my food, and I'm walking back out. And as I'm walking towards my car, there was this what I was looking at was odd. I see this sports car to my right, and to my left, I see a bank. And inside that bank, I see a homeless man sleeping on the ground with nothing. And I'm like, this picture is just so imbalanced. It's such an odd perspective of life. You know what I mean? I'm like, to the right, I have a sports car, and just the symbol of what it represents, just the prosperity and money, whatever. So I see a sports car. I see a bank, financial institution. Inside the bank, I see a homeless man. I'm like, what an odd picture. I don't know what it was in me, man. I didn't consciously think about it. I'm going to feel good about it. No. I didn't think about it. I put my food in my car, and with the other $20 I had left in my pocket, I pulled it out. I just literally walked up to him, making sure he's not awake because I don't want any credit for it. I just walked up. And now some of the hecklers on this, but you're telling us now in the shower, man, you're getting credit. No, shut up and listen to the actual point of the lesson here. I'm just sharing with you guys because it's a personal thing I did that I'm like, I learned from it, so maybe you guys can profit from my thinking at that moment. I put the $20 on the ground. I just walk away quickly, hoping like he doesn't wake up to see me because I don't care. Like I want him to just wake up and be like, oh, it's $20. What the hell? What happened? Mm-hmm. I get back in my car, start driving away. I'm driving home and it's like 1 a.m. at this point. I'm driving home, and I just didn't think about it. I thought about it. I'm like, this guy could get that $20 and go buy drugs. I mean, this is a stereotype. I mean, he could also buy food. And I'm hoping he buys food or does something with it, products. I'm like, but even if he buys drugs or whatever, you know what? I don't care. As I'm driving home, I'm like, I'm doing this for the impression it makes on me. Yep. first before what it does to him, because $20 won't change a homeless man's life. Let me tell you guys right now, $20 is not going to change anybody's life. If I truly wanted to go, and I thought about this, if I truly wanted to go and help the people on streets, I would grab Think and Grow Rich books, literally, and walk up, have conversations with them, like, read this book if you want to get out of this. I wouldn't give them money because they don't know what to do with money. If they knew what to do with money, they wouldn't be in that situation. Now, that's a very one-way perspective. I'm not saying that's the only problem. Because I also thought about this driving home. Like, the guy could have had a really rough childhood. Someone could have abused him at home. He was emotionally messed up and traumatized. Didn't know how to ask for help. Ended up losing everything because he's mentally messed up. And he started getting on the streets because he didn't know how to fix his trauma. Like, I'm like, maybe it's not because he's an idiot or stupid like everyone else thinks. Maybe it's generally because he went through a lot in life.
Absolutely.
And he didn't know how to help himself. And I've actually, volunteered at, like, youth camps, at homeless youth camps.
Yeah.
So when I meet these people, I'm like, they're not poor. They're actually really good people. They just don't have a home to go to. Like, they don't go get along with their family, or they got into bad habits. They don't know how to fix it. Like, literally, most people on the streets could change their life around with just a coach or a therapist helping them out. But they can't afford it, nor do they know that they can go there.
Yeah.
So I'm driving home, and I'm like, the impression I just made on my own subconscious mind that I did this is more important to me, because I didn't do it to feel good. Like, it didn't make me feel good or bad. It just made me go, like, at least I did something. And to myself, I'm like, what an odd situation. I'm driving home and hit me. I'm like, I just learned today that I want to increase my willingness to share my blessings with others. Now it's just 20. It's not like I gave so much. I'm just saying the fact that I did something that day, I took action right away on what I learned. I'm like, it's a start. I felt good. I'm like, you know what? And some of you're listening to this, you got to hear what I'm about to say. Some of you read a book, you don't do anything with it. I'm telling you, I listened to one sentence in the book and I did something the same exact day. Some of you wait way too long to start doing what you learn. Do what you learn from the books. Do what you learn in the course. Do what you learn from your coach. I promise your life will be different. I was thinking about this too. I thought a lot on the weekend. I'm like, if someone asked me, like, what made you, successful, whatever that they want to say, don't ever idolize me or, like, make me, I'm just a normal person like you, and I just worked hard. That's all it is. And if you believe anything else, you actually won't have success in your life, because you'll think it's some supernatural thing. I thought about it. I'm like, my answer would be this. I learned something, and I actually did it. That's my answer. That's how I got here. I learned something, and I actually did it. I learned new things, and I did the thing I learned. Like, that's the only thing you need to know, is that when you learn something, do it. If you learn something and don't do it, problem is, you won't get anywhere. So, you stay the same. So I'm driving home, I'm feeling good. I'm like, good. I gave this guy $20. Hopefully last him a couple meals. That's good. Whatever. And I'm like, it's not in my heart yet to, I don't have a burning desire to go help homeless people yet. And one day if it hits me, maybe I'll go do that. Maybe I have another way of helping people, It's not everyone has to do the same way. So I'm driving home, I go to bed, and I have a good, I watch a really cool movie about, like, Shaolin monks and stuff. I learn a lot of mental stuff. And I sleep. I wake up. I check my email. There's 2 new booked calls. One at 5 a.m., one at 8 a.m. I'm like, hold on. 2 weeks I've been running ads. 2 weeks I've been running ads. Spent over $1,000 on ads in 2 weeks. Hundreds of people have checked out my funnel. No one booked a call. What a coincidence that the night I choose to just drop $20 for someone who might need it. The next morning I wake up, I got 2 calls booked. Qualified people with applications saying, I really need to speak to you. I would love to start you with your program. Now, there is obviously a logical answer to this.
Yeah.
I played with the ads a little bit. I did. I played with the ads a little bit to see if I could fix it. Maybe one of my ads or one of my email follow-ups hit them at that time. Maybe it's a coincidence. I'm not saying, but a wise man once said that there are no coincidences in life. That everything happens for a reason. It's your job to find out what the reason is.
Yeah.
So I sat there, I'm like, I have a choice to think that I touched the ads and that's all that happens. That's all that happened. Or that, funny enough, the night I decide to give, with no expectation, no attachment, no nothing to it, God or the universe or life gives me back tenfold. Like, think about this. I want you guys to know, I gave $20. I'm not saying go just give money away for, like, that's not the point. Because I also give in other ways that are worth way more than that. But I just decided to give $20. If I close these new 2 clients that come in, they want to join my program, we help them, build their coaching businesses. The equivalent of return on those 2 are greater than 10 times that amount. 100 times that amount of the $20.
Yeah.
150 times that amount of the $20 is the return. And then I start to listen more attentively now to grow rich peace of mind. I'm listening to Napoleon's words, and there is a wisdom behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
That there is a very, there's a powerful magic behind just giving with no expectation. And it's funny because as I'm driving home, specifically that part, he goes into depth on how to give.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I was wondering how. And then he tells me the 3 different ways. I'm like, this is so fascinating. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Whatever that means to you, use it and profit by it. But I'm just saying what I learned from that. And I remember the story with Tony Robbins where he had nothing left, living in a 400 square foot bachelor apartment in Venice, California. I memorized that, by the way. Thanks so much. And he had $19 in his pocket. He spent $12 on food, and he had like $7 left. He gave all the $7 to this young kid who was there with his mom to buy his mom lunch. And he ran home with no fear. And he felt so good for some reason. He felt like because he gave away everything he had in the midst of having nothing. And the next morning he wakes up and he has snail mail with money that he lent to someone years ago with interest on it. And he was about to get evicted out of his apartment, but he was able to pay rent and more. And then he just decided to realize that in that moment, if I give, I get. Yeah. But not from the person, from life. And I'm taking care of if I give. And that's where he created the whole secret to living is giving. But the secret to living is giving, guys, is not a Tony Robbins quote. That is an ancient principle. And Napoleon goes into the depth of where that philosophy started back in the days, man. Back in the times when people understood tithing.
Yeah. The Bible, yeah. If we go
every religion you think about. Yeah. These are wise leadership principles or philosophies that just make a balance in humanity. So I got to firsthand experience it on such a small scale, just $20 a homeless person. The next day I get 2 book calls. And I'm like, fascinating. And the other book call that we got came in later after that day, and they were like, I'm so excited to speak to you. I'm like, why is prosperity flowing in? All I did was give $20. I'm like, it's weird. Now, it's not just that. There's practicality behind this. But I love the fact of how the irony of life works is when you give, you get. When you're not giving anything, you're not getting anything. And by the way, I was giving in other ways, but specifically I stretched myself to give in a way I haven't for a while.
Yeah.
Anyways, those are 2 stories I wanted to share that hopefully someone gets inspired by this. And I wouldn't share it unless I felt like I really, like it was necessary. And I feel like one person watching at least had to hear something in those stories. And hopefully it helps out. So,
awesome.
Do you have any comments to that? Or?
No, I agree.
Do you have any experiences in your life where you've given it like...
Yeah, absolutely, actually. This is... If my sister's watching, this will be an interesting one. So it's just a random evening during early quarantine, and me and my sister are all about food, so we try to try different places during our cheat meals. So shout out to Christabel. We were looking at different restaurants, and we went to this plaza that's very close to our house near Bramley City Center. I'm from Brampton. So there was we're literally about to go into this burger place that has a bunch of like freshly grilled, like all fresh beef, whatever, good stuff. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go to Hasty Market for a second. Like, I think I want candy. Like, do you want candy? She's like, yeah, sure. So we walk over and I turn this corner and there's a woman on the ground who is disabled that I don't notice. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm pretty easily frightened. Just because like, I don't like to be snuck up on or I'll like immediately scream or shout or do something or like react. So
True.
It's true. It's true. So I turned the corner. She's kind of behind a post, like where you put your Canada Post mail. So I turn the corner and I don't notice her. And she actually has, and this is crazy to say, but she has like pretty much like a hole in her throat, in her whole like bottom half of her face. So immediately I'm like frightened because I didn't see her coming, and she has a physical like what's the word I'm thinking? Disability? I don't know. Yeah. Like a physical feature that makes her look as if she's not particularly human. And that's the best way that I can describe it. It's all love though. So I turn the corner and I scream. I'm like, oh my God, like immediately. And she's like, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. I didn't see you there. And I'm like, whoa, no, I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I'm easily frightened. Like, anybody knows this about me, like my sister's right here. I'm easily frightened. I apologize. I'm so sorry I scared you. Like, can I get you anything? And like, that was just my first reaction. Before thinking about anything else, my first thought was, I'm so sorry I scared you. Can I get you anything? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, thank you though. You can get me something. Like, and we go inside the store. And she asked me actually for a pack of cigarettes. And like a snack, a bag of chips. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll get them both for you. What kind do you want? And I literally like, don't do that. Like I barely ever will like give out money, but it was after this circumstance that if I had it, I would give it. So I go in and I just get it for her. Like, I don't even think to argue and be like, I'm not going to buy this woman cigarettes, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. I literally just got her what she asked and I gave it to her. And she like looked at me and she literally said like, most people don't even like take the time to look my way, obviously, because I look like this. And like, she kind of laughed. And I was like, no, like, don't even think about that. Like, I'm sorry I frightened you. Like, here's what you asked me for. Like, I hope you have a great day. And I was like, me and my sister were both like really taken aback, because we were like, oh my God. Like, that was 100% a circumstance where you see somebody in whatever reality that they're facing, and you could be quick to judge. You could be quick to say something or combat something, or, just not, let's say, give them what they may need to deal with whatever they're dealing with. But like, I just took it into the perspective, and I'm like, no, like, let me just be a human. And then the next day it was like, I think I found like $20 on the ground. And then I was like, oh, like, okay, like, I'm a money magnet. Yes, from T. Harv Eker. Every time anyways, so I get it, and I'm like,
if you
wow,
know,
like,
you know.
If you know, you know. I'm a money magnet. But yeah, and I didn't even think about it until a couple of weeks later, when I saw a homeless man like at the side of the highway, and I was like, oh, I have some change, and I gave him like whatever change I had. And then another day I found like $2 on the ground, and I was like, okay, there's a pattern here.
Weird,
Things are happening. Like, what?
We're not saying that this is
it's not.
It's just odd that it happens.
It's odd. It's odd.
Isn't it?
But
and
it
you
was
give, you get.
Yeah, it was like a double whammy learning experience, because I also got the like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, everybody's a soul, blah blah blah, and then you give and you receive, and it's a lot.
And so, sometimes, guys, like the receiving doesn't come till later. Sometimes you just give for a long time.
Yeah.
And if you get resentful, you lose it. I don't. I have this tiny little belief that God's denials are not God's delays.
Ooh.
And it's not my quote.
I like it.
I read it somewhere like 4 years ago.
God's
I remember reading it, and I'm like, it's true. When you're not, it's not a denial. It's a delay. And I just took out the delay part, and I kept that with me, saying that everything delays. Everything has a delay. Like, if you plant a seed, okay, you want to learn everything about manifesting desires in life, just go study how farmers build their business. You plant the seed, you wait. You never get upset the next day it's not coming out yet. You give it months. No seed comes out in weeks. No seed. Maybe there's a few, but I'm saying real crops that you can sell comes out months later. Sometimes years if it's like a tree or something big, right? So we use planting seeds in the Think Bigger curriculum with students to explain how to plant ideas in your mind to grow them and goals. But I'm saying right here, like, it's a delay. It's not a denial. And so I may have, like, maybe that tiny thing, like giving $20 at this bucks, and the next day we find something, sure. Small thing. But who knows all the things I gave or did or sacrificed years ago that are now showing up in my life as a whole. And I thought about this on the drive home actually that night, thinking, how did I get such a great team? And I'm not just saying this because, I want to, compliment you guys. I do most of the time. But I'm saying this genuinely. I realized, I'm like, how did I get such a great team? Like, I'm very fulfilled with the team we have now in this company. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff I paid, like the cost of what I've done and gave, behind doors where no one knows. It's made me been able to like attract something like this. I've earned this, but it's in a delay format. So I was thinking about it, and I go like, wow. It's not a denial; it's a delay, and immediately I think patience is important. I started mentoring Isaiah and Lauren in November and October of last year, and I genuinely told them, I'm like, I don't want anything. I just want help, and I helped them both with whatever they needed in their life at that time for months. For about 2, 3, 4 months, I kind of just gave. I was giving and helping, and honestly, I just felt good from giving, and so I wanted to keep doing it. I didn't think anything would come out of it. Honestly, I never thought anything would come out of it. And then 6 months later, in February, I'm saying they're like, we need somebody for this role. I'm like, Lauren fits the perfect role for this. So we offered a job, and she's like, of course. And she came. And then like a month later, Isaiah came in and was like, can I do something? And I didn't, like, when I look back at it now, it was like 5, 6 months. I worked for them. Yeah. You get what I mean? I didn't ask for anything. I worked for them. As a coach or a mentor, you're working for the person. They're not working for you. And I worked for them, and was I sufficient? I don't know. I've never asked, but it was good. Lauren gave me a thumbs up. She's like, you're good. 5-star rating. Give you a review on Google. I worked for Isaiah and I worked for Lauren for a long time. And I worked for them with no expectation of anything back. And, I let them come to, like, I really helped them in the best way I could. I would go, we were supposed to have 1 hour talks. We'd go to 3 hours sometimes, And so I did my best to give. And I'm like, I'm being blessed so severely back for what I did. And it's like, it's not like a transaction. Like, they didn't sit there and go, I got to pay Armin back now. That's not how it works. Nor did I say, now you got to pay me back. It's not like how it works. It's just, it's a natural law. It's a law of compensation. That for whatever you do, there is a responsibility. There's a response to it, whether it's good or bad, depending on your action. And I'm like, just kind of gradually grew into this thing where we gave. And now they're giving back. And it's like, it's this revolving thing. And so, I thought about the first year of my business where it was hard. I made a lot of money. Well, at that time, I crossed my 6-figure goal. But it was so hard. And you know what? The reason was because I was so focused on growing and making money, I left no space or room for giving. And I went the extra mile. Like, I gave free coaching, but I never gave my money, never gave anything. And I realized that's why it was so hard. Because I was still being a small person. It's hard to build a big business when you're being a small person. Because being a small person is you're just focused on yourself 24/7, never on your clients, never on your team, never on anything. So what happens? By default, I didn't have a really good team. I also didn't have really a team. I also didn't have a lot of clients. I got a small amount of clients that pay me a lot of money. Instead of getting hundreds of clients like I have now, give me a little bit of money. That's a real business model. So we're just sharing this with you guys. Maybe you guys can take something out of it spiritually, wisdom-wise, through just profit by our experiences so that you guys can get ahead faster. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So.
Love it. Should we check in with the socials?
Yeah, what's going on online? Can you speak really loud so everyone can hear us?
So on Facebook,
yeah,
we have Laurie who said, hello, long time no see.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, Laurie.
You asked the question on Ask Armin a long time ago. It's a good question, too. Go ahead.
We have Jessica, Jordan, Tyler all saying hi.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Nakisha says, true.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. Jordan says, this is too real.
Yeah.
Love how you self-talk, Jeanette. Facts, Armin, lol.
Hashtag facts.
Jessica puts dollar symbols.
Dollar symbols. Dollars. Yeah. Essa, let's do it.
Tina says, miss you guys.
Miss you, Tina.
Miss you too.
Jessica says, yes, but actually want to go hand out TGR books.
Yeah.
What a good idea.
Yeah. By the way, in Grow Rich Your Peace of Mind, Napoleon talks about how a lot of his students who read the book would buy books and give it to their neighbors and everything. So people would give out TGR books as a way of giving, and their business would grow, and people would love them. And if they actually read it back in the day, they would be like, "Thank you for giving me this. You changed my life." And to this day, when I went to Virginia, the Wise County, to the Napoleon Hill Foundation with Satish, I met J.B. Hill. Was it J.B. Hill? It was like Napoleon Hill's grandson. It was like super old as well. But I remember someone from the Hill family, to this day, still has a full trunk of TGR books and gives them out for free.
Wow.
To this day, man. He was like in his 80s.
Used to do those with GoPros.
GoPro, yeah. I know. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Do we have books still?
We do. I have some books.
I'll just send Satish the money and we'll just give him up.
Yeah, we should.
Should do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Team activity.
See how many we have, and let's just go give it out to like maybe people in the office for now.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like a good plan.
Let's do it.
That's all the Facebook?
No.
See, take action on what you learn really quickly. All right, go ahead.
Syed Husnain says hi.
Hey, Syed.
Hey.
Jordan says, so easy to judge. Very true.
Yeah.
And that's our
Instagram? What's going on Instagram?
Instagram. We have...
Oh, you want it?
I could do it.
Yeah, Lauren's on. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Someone's got to do mine too.
Yeah, Isaiah, go ahead.
On Instagram, we have a comment from Uzman.
Yeah.
Uzman
Oh, what's up, man?
Hey, Usman.
Uzman said, I have full control over my emotions, and I believe it's a really valuable skill.
Yeah.
How could I turn it into something that I can teach, coach to others? And sorry for asking so many questions.
Oh, bro, that's first of all. It's called Ask Armin Clear Talk Show. You don't apologize for asking questions.
Yes.
I have a quick answer for you, actually. If you truly have done that, you will be able to break down in steps what you do, like I just did in the beginning of this episode. I told you what I went through, break it down on paper, and then share that with others for free. Like, don't charge. Just go to people like, you want self-discipline? I just did that. I have control of my mind. Here's how. I first did this, then I did this, and then you create a system on how you do it. If you have truly done it, let me tell you something. If you've truly figured something out as an expert, you can produce results with it. You create a system. You know what a system is? A system is a predictable process that produces the same result. Yeah. So when you think of a computer system, it's because every time you hit the button, it turns on, it does the same thing every day. It doesn't change tomorrow. So a system is something you can depend on, a dependable system, a reliable system that's predictable and consistently produces the same results. So if you can create a system on how you took control of your mind, a system on how you, created self-discipline, got yourself motivated, and there's a process to it, and it works every time, you can do it every day, and it always works, and doesn't, like, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, it's a proven system, then you can go share that with others. That's how you teach it. What else?
You're gonna have to scroll. If you leave, you're gonna have to scroll.
What else on Instagram? Is there anything else?
Said, I feel like it's like an unconscious thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, habits are nothing. Listen, subconscious, unconscious thing. There are unconscious things, but you can consciously break it down in steps. And if you can't, that means you haven't figured it out yet.
He said he can't.
So you haven't figured it out yet. You haven't figured it out, man.
Yeah.
Like, just because, for example, I might grow up in a household of guitar players, right? And I'm really good at guitar. Like, I'm 20 years old, and I'm playing like, Led Zeppelin. Let's say I'm really good. Well, like, it's unconscious. I just don't know how to teach it. Well, that means I really haven't figured out how I'm doing this. If I can't figure out how I'm playing this good, I can't teach it. You got to figure out how you're doing it. And the way you do that is, I just told you break it down into steps, consciously asking yourself, what do I do first? What do I do? And you observe yourself. You self-analyze, and you go through the process, and you try to consciously produce a result. If you can't consciously produce a result, you cannot teach or coach it to someone. If you do it by accident, that just means you were lucky enough to grow up in a family or an environment where you by accident, and not accidentally, but how you by environment equip these habits. But if you can't teach it, you can't be a coach. You can't be a coach. Like, Tony Robbins can break down every single thing he ever does in his life, step by step, and he can consciously produce his results. That's why he is one of the best in the world. So that's my answer to you. That's my answer to you. Any other stuff? What about Jay stuff?
On Jay's Instagram, so for live creative, she said, cleaning my kitchen and listening and enjoying your positive.
What you cooking?
Love it. I also think I saw who's
You want to
above.
scroll up? You want to scroll up?
Yeah. Who's above? What's that? Is that Deshane?
Waves. People are just waving at you guys.
Is it the D medley?
I think it is Deshane.
It's the medley?
Does that say Deshane?
Deshane?
It's the medley.
Whose name is that?
It doesn't say Deshane.
What name is it?
DWND. It doesn't say Deshane.
Listen, if it's Deshane's watching, if you know, you know.
I'm trying to see from far away. It's
If
okay.
Deshane's watching.
Any
No?
comments or questions?
Oh, from Clothit Infinity, he said, Armin live, you are so much better. That's what he said.
Cloth
Armin,
Infinity.
Armin,
Oh,
you
it's
are so
Cloth
much better.
Infinity? Oh, it's Jordan. That's
Oh,
Jordan.
Jordan.
That's Jordan. Hey,
Yeah, I
Jordan.
know, but the edited version, Isaiah does a lot of animations and stuff like that, and it's just really interesting and fun to watch. So,
Awesome.
That's
all right, let's get into
No
questions. The
IG?
first question with
Okay.
Usman was that was the first question with Usman.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go into questions from Ask Armin. By the way, if you're watching this right now and you're enjoying the content, you're getting it, you want more of it, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube and hit that little notification bell. Drop a comment down below and let us know what was the favorite part. What was your biggest takeaway from what we talked about so far? If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, send this to someone in the DM. If you're on Facebook, hit that share button and like it. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think is good, what you think could be better. Let us know and we'll improve it and we'll make the show even better for you. So let's get into the first question from AskArmin.com.
Awesome. So, in maintaining a business platform, what is the best way to build excessively using all social media platforms, as well as building or even generating a successful business platform? What are the main aspects that someone should do on a daily basis to have a bulletproof mindset?
Can you summarize it in one sentence?
Yes. So that question is from Abdul Zaman, very long-winded, but ultimately I think he's asking, what is the best way and what should I be doing on a daily basis to be able to get a bulletproof mindset and expand my business?
Read Think and Grow Rich. I don't know. Like, if I were to sit here and try to explain to you what you do every day with yourself and your mind and your business, it would take me at least 12 days. Why do I know that? Because there are levels to Think and Grow Rich seminars.
Yeah.
And the minimal amount of level is 3 days long. And that's like understanding the first three principles. So I instead of doing that, because no one has 12 days to give to you back to back in a seminar. Even Tony, the longest seminar, 6 days. Go read the book and implement what you learn. Like, you generally, go read the book, implement what you learn. You know how you guys will get the most out of this show and the most out of getting our help? Is read TGR or go actually read personal development books. Read something from Bob Proctor, read something from Tony, read something from Napoleon. There's other ones as well. I'm not saying there aren't. But read them, go do them, get results from them, and then when you're confused with the result, come and ask us questions. For every person who asks me a question that has to do with something where they have not done something with what they've learned yet, my answer is always the same. Go do it first.
Yeah.
Go do so. I would almost ask you back, Abdullah, what have you done? Like, what are you trying?
Yeah.
And if I don't know what you're trying, then I'm going to tell you to go try more things. Go try it. Because you might actually get the answer within the application. It doesn't matter how many answers I give you on the show. You're not going to get the result until you do something. You can sit down and read about basketball all you want until you get on the court and actually practice a shot, do 1,000 shots a day. You're not going to get better. You can sit down and read about your body and weights all you want. But until you get in the gym and actually do it, you won't learn what you actually learned. So with that being said, I always like to say this, and I genuinely believe this. You actually don't know anything until you've done it. Even if you think you know it, even if you think you can explain what you know, you really don't know yet. Yeah. Because you haven't experienced it to know what it actually feels like to do it. So you don't really know it. You might intellectually understand it, but you don't know it.
Yeah.
So read TGR. Now, if it's marketing platforms, all this stuff, there's no like right way of doing it. I've learned that business is really just a long process of figuring it out. It's really all it is.
Yeah.
So taking massive action and learning in trial and error is good. The fastest hack, fastest cheat, or it's not cheat in a bad way, like the fastest shortcut. And there are efficient ways of learning things, and there are inefficient ways. Like example, when Tony Robbins built a business, I studied that therapists would use Freudian therapy techniques, and that took anywhere from 1 to 5 years to work because their technique was a very vague technique where it worked, but it took long. Why? Because they would spend an hour a session with a client over years, talking to them, and from very vague conversation, they would ask questions that directed the person's mind to go to the answer, and they'd break through, and then like within 2.5 years from now, they'll understand that they don't need to be angry anymore, and they walk away. So it worked. But it was a Freudian therapy was just about question, answer, and really just having a conversation, getting them to think themselves out of it themselves. Yeah. Okay? But neurolinguistic programming, which was a new modern way of science of getting people to break through, Tony Robbins would change someone in like 15 minutes. Now, that's why he became super rich, because no one else was doing it to his level. At that time, it was a whole new concept. Now everyone's an NLP coach and everyone's whatever. But essentially the difference was they understood the brain. And they realized that if they do a certain couple things, there's an efficient way, there's a faster way, there's a better way of getting the person to come to that conclusion without talking to them about it for years and just getting them to go to the conclusion straight away without wasting time. So there's efficient ways of doing something and there's inefficient ways. Now, they both work though. So you can go figure it out on your own, or here's my efficient way of hacking how to become successful in business or in anything in life. Go find someone that does it really well and already has results in it and pay them anything they want to learn. Go find someone who's done what you want to do. Go find someone who's already done it really well and has results in it. Pay them whatever they're asking for to learn from them what they did. Because that is like literally for exchange of money, which is such a non-valuable thing. Money is just for means to an end. So get it and get the end, which is resources. Money is one resource that gives you a ton of other resources. Give your money to somebody that has the results you want and literally tell them what is the step-by-step process on what you did to do this way. But going back to Usman, if you understand the step-by-step process of what you do to get yourself to where you are, and you think you're very intelligent in that sense, you should be able to break it down. If you can teach it, you can charge money for people to pay you to learn that process because they don't have that process. If they had that process, they would not need you.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Do you have an answer?
I do, yeah. So kind of going back to what Armin said originally, the way that you ask your question doesn't let us know what things you're actually dealing with, right? Yeah. So number one, I think whenever anybody's asking, like, what can I do in my business to improve it? The first thing is, so what are your metrics like right now? What are your parameters? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? You mentioned social media. What posts are you making? What captions are you making on them? How many likes are you getting? Do you know what your demographic or what your audience likes more of? And what do they like to see, right? So I think that number one is awareness. One of the first things that Armin and I both did when we started our journey was record every single thing that we did, every single minute, every single day.
For a year straight.
And ultimately, what we learned throughout that process was that we waste a lot of time doing stupid things, and our time and our effort is going to things that, one, isn't making us money, or, isn't conducive to the growth of the business. So I would implore you, Abdul, to kind of break down your business week by week, day by day, and see what you're doing and see what results you're yielding from it. So, for example, if we're talking ads, like how much money did you put into ads this week and what came of it? Like maybe there was something that converted. Let's monitor that. If you change certain things, like literally write down every single thing. And after that point, once you have everything on paper, you can break down what you feel like is working and what's not working. Your audience is going to tell you that because there are principles to success, right? TGR will give you the the groundwork or the blueprint, the Bible to do what you want to do to achieve success. But you have to also take a note of what you're physically and actively doing in your day-to-day life to see if you're fully implementing or if you're like half butting it.
Half butting.
If you're half butting.
You got to full butt it.
Yeah, right? So you aren't going to know if you're really full butting if you're not making a note of it, right?
She almost said it.
I almost said it. But when we started out, right, Armin's first breakthrough of the weekend was the fact that, he was thinking about how can I improve? How can I do better? One reason why he can do that
awareness
is because he has the awareness of where his time is going, what he does on a daily basis, where his attention is flowing. He's only able to ask himself those questions because he has that information. So Abdul, you've got to know what that is. And once you do that, then we can pinpoint, change this, do that. But having all of the steps isn't enough.
Yeah, you shouldn't grab a magnifying glass and look deeper into your business.
Yeah.
You should go into a mirror and look deeper into yourself. Like, you might go into your business and go, well, this part isn't working well. What part of that reflects something in your life?
Absolutely.
The way you handle yourself is the way you're going to handle other people in your business. The way you handle your own problems in life personally is the way you're going to handle your problems in your business. The way you go about your personality is the way you're going to market yourself in your business. Okay? I realized something, by the way, because we don't have time for any more questions, but
yeah,
I also don't want to leave everyone hanging, because in the beginning of the show I did say that I had 2 breakthroughs. One of them was, it wasn't the 2 stories, those are 2 stories.
Oh!
There's a second breakthrough I had that I think would actually help you, man. And so let me answer your thing with the story of how I did this thing, because you're asking, well, what can I do to improve my business?
Yeah.
Like, where should I start on a daily basis? I'm going to go off what she said, which was an awareness. So check this out. Awareness is everything, man. Self-analysis is your greatest friend. It's the greatest metric. You can measure your leads, your productivity, or your posts every day. You could do that, or you can measure yourself. How do you measure yourself? You ask questions, and you answer them honestly. So in Think and Grow Rich Alone, in the chapter of Outwitting the 6 Ghosts of Fear, there's the last chapter of the book. There's like a 63 question self-analysis.
Yeah.
And it's asking questions where you got to really realize if you really outwitted all the ghosts of fear. And I didn't say yes to all of them. And it was funny because I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh damn, I still do this. I do this. For example, self-analysis is everything, man. That's why they said Rethink and Grow Rich and actually do it, because it will get you to self-analyze. Self-analysis is everything. Check this out. I went through the questions. 4 questions in, I realized one of them I haven't mastered. It says, do you respond to people or talk to people with our sarcastic tone? And I'm like, damn. And I told you in the beginning of the show, I'm like, for the last 2 months, I've been not myself. I've been more, anxiety comes to me and stress, and I'm like more like edgy and irritable. Okay. So I answer, I'm like, when I get that way, I respond to my team in a sarcastic way. And it's like condescending. It's really, it's insulting, really. And no, but it's insulting because I wouldn't want someone to talk to me like that. But I do it because I'm in a state where I've allowed someone to bother me. So when I'm bothered, I'm like, and I get back to them in person. I speak in such a condescending tone where I'm like, you could have done this. I go like this. I don't care. Just you could, yeah. Just so I'm sitting there and I'm reading. I'm like, why did I do this? And here, self questions everything. First question I ask is like, am I sarcastic to people when I speak? Sometimes, even if you do it once, it means yes. So I'm like, I do. I'm like, why do I do that? Because that's not a pleasant thing to do. So I'm like, why do I do that? And I'm going deeper questions to myself. I'm like, why do I do that? Why do I do that? I'm like, where did this start? I wasn't always like this. And I went back to the times again where I was like very like in a momentum. I was great.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never worried about other people. I never thought about other people. I didn't try to change them or micromanage them. And I'm like, I started doing that recently. Where did this start? I found the culprit. Months ago, I got really focused on building my online business. And I've had this online coach for a long time. This guy's made about $15 million online. And he's really good at what he does. However, his personality is completely different than mine. His personality is the type where everything is based off his ego. And over the last 2-3 months, I started to emulate him. I'm like, why did I start modeling him? Because I'm starting to get really good results because I hired a right expert. But as I'm learning to get results like him, I'm starting to think like him, talk like him, act like him. And this is me knowing myself. Maybe some of you don't do that. You have the ability to learn from someone without becoming them. I genuinely I start emulating the person like a mirror, because that's the fastest way I've learned to model success. So I'm seeing this guy, and he is so egotistical on his coaching calls. Like, he puts people down as a joke. He ridicules them, makes fun of them, and like he's not a bad person. I'm making him sound really bad. He's, the point is this. His personality is that he's okay with polarity and disagreeing and what's controversy. He's okay with it.
Yeah.
I am totally neutral. You guys are like, no, you're not, Armin, because I learned from him. So months and months ago, I was very neutral. I was totally like, I was just cool. Like, I was positive. I didn't care about, like, I was being controversial because I learned it from him. Because he talks about marketing. If you're not controversial, it doesn't create engagement. I'm just telling you guys a little secret here. I'm learning from this guy. And I realized, man, I started to treat my team poorly. Not terribly poorly, just even a little bit to me is poor. Worse than usual because of this guy. Now, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying I allowed myself to be influenced by him. Man, I'm sitting there and I'm reading this book. I'm like, damn. I started to behave like him. Why? Because I wanted to emulate his results. So I thought I had to become like him. And I made this declaration to myself. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm going to achieve the results that I'm going to get from working with this guy as my coach without letting him influence my personality. And I made a very hard decision. See, even self-talk is so important, man.
Yeah.
You talk to others, like, when you want to like teach your kids something. If you have kids, you want to teach them something, you tell them something, right? Why do you think it's any different with your own self? If you want to help someone understand something with you, if I have an issue with someone in my team, I'm gonna go talk to them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you have an issue with yourself,
Gotta talk to yourself.
why do you not think you gotta talk to yourself?
So when you see me outside and I'm talking to myself, leave me alone.
It's because she's crazy. It's not because of that. It's because she's crazy. But do you get my point? Some of you don't, like, you discount yourself as like, remember I told you where I started to drift was I started to not be conscious. I would just kind of go with the flow.
Yes.
You can break that habit and pattern by talking to yourself.
Absolutely.
Listen, 80% of you that are stuck, if you're watching this and you're stuck and you're like, how do I get myself out of this rut? 80% of you would break that pattern if you just looked in the mirror and had a 1 hour conversation with yourself. You're like, 1 hour? Yeah! You can't spend 1 hour in front of a mirror to save your future? I don't understand. Well, in that case, then have fun with your life. I'm telling you, that is one of the secrets of one of the steps. By the way, Usman watching, for example, this is me breaking down the steps. This is how it looks. You can break down the steps so I can show you how to get the result. So, I'm sitting there and I made this decision. I'm like, I let this guy influence me subconsciously, but I consciously decided to let it be okay because I wanted his results, but I didn't know I could have his results without having his personality. So I'm like, I don't want this because it's and I thought about it, I analyzed it. I'm like, when I was being like myself, fire emoji. When I was being like myself, I had a better harmony in my team.
Yeah.
I'm like, when did I start having like friction with Lauren, with Isaiah, with Imad, with Jay? When did I start having friction? When? Like when I started to accept that it's okay. See, it's a level of standard dropped. I started to accept that it's okay to talk to them this way. Why did I think it's okay? Because I saw him doing it. Because I saw him doing it with his team and his clients. I said, it's okay to talk this way. Because look at him, he's successful, he has money, and I want what he wants, and I want what he has, and so if I do behave like him, it's okay. He has all this money, and he acts this way, he still made this money. So I go, my brain makes this stupid logical decision, that means it's okay. That's like me having a coach that's extremely overweight and unhealthy, but is rich, and I go, well, it's okay to eat every day. But by the way, that's how it happens. Your environment, not just physically, but even the people you learn from and who you listen to. Your environment will influence what you think is okay and what you don't think it's okay. You want to learn discipline on a deep principle? It's your environment is the one dictating without you even noticing what's okay and what's not okay. Yeah. Your environment. And my coach was a part of my environment. So I sat there, I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I looked at myself in the mirror, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I will master the sarcastic tone. I will master ridicule. Because I would make jokes. I'm really good at impressions, you know? I'm really good at making impressions. So I'm like, but I was using it abusively. How? And I mean that with like lightly. I wasn't doing anything. But I'm saying I was using it in a negative way, where I was making fun of people in my team and people of my clients. And what I was doing is not because I don't like them. Not harmfully. I was just because I thought my humor is funny. But that's how this guy is. His humor is mocking. His humor is bullying. Now,
Self-deprecating or deprecating humor?
Deprecating humor, not self.
Yeah,
Self-deprecating is what I used to be like.
Yes.
But I turned into deprecating others.
Yes.
So I'm on a coaching call, one of the coaching calls with him, and he explains why he's like this. And it really hit me. Like, I don't need his social heredity. He said, he's like, you guys think me swearing and I'm like this is bad? He's like, you should meet my dad. And he goes, my dad is terrible. He's like, I'm embarrassed to be outside with my dad sometimes, I love the guy to death, but he literally is like F-bombs everywhere, saying the most racial things. He's the funniest guy ever. Funniest guy ever. I'm listening to this coach of mine. I'm like, damn. Now, he's my business coach, not my mindset coach, not my personality coach, not my character coach, not my success coach. He's my business coach. Yeah. Specifically my online business coach. And specifically in the marketing aspect. Nothing else, okay?
Just this.
Like, I'm like, there's a lot I could teach him in character because of the work I put on myself on TGR. I'm just saying. Yeah. So I'm like, if that ever comes, it'll come. But my point is, I had to separate those two. Some of you clump everything together.
Absolutely.
You learn something from like a family member who maybe is very wise in the area of business or money or relationships or maybe something. Maybe they're really smart like quantum physics. I don't know. Maybe they're just smart. But you clump everything they are by accident into the fact that they're smart in that one area. Just because someone's good at one thing doesn't mean they've mastered everything. So you need to make sure you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. Whatever opinions come in that you want to let in because you want to learn from someone, make sure you just take it for what that one thing is. Yeah. So I'm just telling you based on how I am. Because I have my self-awareness, I know I emulate people. So I had to make sure, I'm like, I got to go back. I'm like, I got to make sure I don't listen to people that, or listen to things very consciously, knowing that it's nothing else matters, just this one thing they said. And that's how I do it. Okay. I also have mentors that are like much older than me. And so it's like, I can't accept all their philosophies of living because they grew up differently with different circumstances and they're at a different age. So what they're thinking might not apply to my age sometimes. This is what you call real self-awareness, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to even listen to my mentors and coaches without associating everything about who they are. And I used to do that by accident. Now, lucky you if you're like this and you find someone that's literally everything you want to be like, then perfect. But that's very rare. So my second breakthrough I had was I caught the cause of some of the bad habits I picked up. And it wasn't just not pushing myself. The other one was my personality. My personality started to slip. And so I made a declaration to myself. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to make sure I work on my personality. I'm going to review my notes from the Law of Success, from the Thinking Over seminars on the pleasing personality. There's like 40 plus qualities of things you got to work on. I'm like, I'm going to make sure I master this thing. Because I'm like, there's no point of me growing this company while stressing my team out with me. So I'm genuinely saying, I'm like, we worked better when I was easier going and I was more forgiving and understanding. And then, like life gives me opportunities. Right after that, I was hanging out with people and I saw controversy and a lightning bolt hit my head. I saw a disagreement happen in front of me and they were fighting an argument. And I'm like, this only happened because of this. And I'm like, I immediately grabbed my phone. I started to write down the process on how to fix it. Because I was in real time, I'm like, this only happened because one person misunderstood something and they said something and they're like, oh, they assume that this is why they said it. And so they rebutted back. And I'm like, whoa. And I made this little like formula. I'm like, to get to, you need to, if you want to have harmonious relationships, you need to learn the habit of forgiveness. Absolutely. You have to learn. If you don't know how to forgive people for things, then it's hard to like build a healthy relationship with them. So I'm like, how do you get forgiveness though? How do you learn to forgive people? I'm like, you got to understand them. So I made this little process and I explained it. So I'm like, for me to build a habit of forgiveness, I need to learn to understand them. Because you can't forgive someone if you don't understand why they did something that you're not forgiving them for. Yeah. So I'm like, you got to understand why. And then I'm like, well, how do you understand? Ask questions. So I start writing all these questions get asked. Can I actually bring it up?
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm going to give you guys some real training right now. Give me a second. I put in the 6th Sense. By the way, I have a note page called the 6th Sense. Every time I get ideas that flashes in my head, I put it under this. I have like dozens and dozens of ideas.
Yes. The 6th Sense is a phrase from Think and Grow Rich. When you guys read it, you will become familiar.
All right, check this out. How to judge bad behavior. I created a little training for this. And how to forgive. So how to forgive is about asking questions first so you can understand them so you can forgive them. Watch this. How to judge bad behavior. What I mean by that is, what if you're in an issue with someone?
Yeah.
And they're acting like really bad with you? How do you respond? I made a training. Number 1, the goal is to seek to understand why they are behaving this way.
Yeah.
Not to judge and conclude on why they are. It's to understand why they're. Don't make up your mind and go, this person is just this kind of person. Nobody grows up being like, I want to be a terrible person in life. No. They're acting that way because something happened.
Yeah.
Number 2, immediately forgive them to clear your mind of potential negative emotions. Check this out. I have to immediately, as soon as I figure out, like, okay, there's 2 types of forgiveness. There's two levels of forgiveness. The first forgiveness is you just detach.
Yeah.
The second level of forgiveness is deeper, where you actually understand what happened and you love them still. But I'm saying you cannot do this process if you're holding negative emotion against them, like you're still taking it personal. Mm-hmm. Problem becomes, that's what I should say. Instead of immediately forgive them, immediately don't take it personal.
Yeah.
so that you can clear your mind of negative emotions potentially, so that you can actually go through this process properly. Because if you're being taken personal, you're affected by what they're doing, their bad behavior, you're going to get skewed filters to what you're going to do back to them. So you got to clear your mind first. That's why very intelligent people in heated situations, they stay calm and poised. Like they calm down.
Yep.
Because they're able to now maneuver towards it. Even in fighting, if you think about it, someone gets really angry, they lose usually.
Yep.
Someone who's just calm, like Muhammad Ali, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He's light because he's calm. So you got to first let it go. You got to not take it personal, forgive them, be like, they're acting like this because something bad happened.
Yes.
Here's what you do next. You got to ask yourself, why are they acting this way?
Yeah.
Ask yourself, why are they acting this way? You don't say, well, I knew I was right about this guy. What? Well, you're right about nothing. I was right about this person. This guy was always bad. I had a bad feeling about him. Well, that means you're just waiting to judge the guy. You can't judge the person.
Yeah.
You got to understand them. So you ask yourself, why are they acting this way? Then you ask them. Here's some questions you could ask them. And by the way, really good questions in the middle of heated arguments or situations with people actually breaks their pattern. They stop getting angry. Because for them to answer your question, they can't be angry. They go, oh, okay. I tell you. So here's the question. You ask them, is everything okay? This is a magical 3-word sentence. 3-word question. Magical.
It's true.
Just ask a person, is everything okay? Majority of the time, you get them blowing up with like all their issues. You know?
9 times, yeah.
Think about this.
10 out of 10. Haven't heard 9 times.
If you guys have like family issues right now, think about this. When is the last time someone or you asked someone, each other in the family, is everything okay? You guys don't you? Every day? That's because you have that's why you have harmonious relationship with your brother. That's why I'm saying that. Because of that. When is the last time, if you have an issue with your family right now, when is the last time you remember asking them or them asking you? And everyone watching, like, my mom or dad, my brother or sister, never ask me. They always think about why I'm this way. They're judging me for being this way. They're not asking me why I'm being this way. When is the last time they asked each other, is everything okay?
Wow.
That's one question. Here's another question. Has something happened? Simple 3 words, eh? Has something happened? You ask that, you know what goes in their mind? They can't be angry at you. Yeah. They can't focus on being a bad person to you and think about what happened, because now you're bringing them back to that thing that's triggered them, eh?
Yeah.
And here's another question. Why are you upset? Is that not a logical thing to ask? Why are you upset? Now, this one is a little bit harder, because if you ask that in the middle of them being upset with you, they'll think it's you. They might lie to you and be like, because you. So if you ask, is everything okay, is better.
Yeah.
So by the way, I've proven this. This works. Me and my mom used to have lots of arguments. Now we barely have arguments. I'm telling you, I don't remember the last time we fought. I actually don't remember. It's been years. Oh, we used to hate, like, listen, she might not accept this. We ignored each other, okay? And I loved her, but we ignored each other. One time, I started to practice the system of responses in my family. One time, she's really upset again. We were like, dog, you know? And I just stopped. I go, is everything okay? She goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, did something happen? She goes, no, I'm just saying this is how you are sometimes. And I go, like, why are you upset? I did it in order, eh? She goes, nothing. I'm like, Mom, just tell me. By the way, the whole tone of the fight changed, eh? Went from me and her battling to, I'm actually seeking to understand now. And she felt that. And no matter how angry she was, it was so hard to deny it.
Yeah.
It takes a really, like, a big butthole for a person. I mean the other word. I don't mean their actual butthole. It takes a really mean person to still be angry at you, even though you're seeking to genuinely understand what's wrong with it. It takes a lot. So it's hard for them to do that. And she goes, nothing, nothing. And I just shut up. And by the way, it's the next step. Then shut up. Listen, this is the next step. You ask the question, then you shut up. Don't say anything. Listen, it says right here, allow them to bring out their emotions and tension. It is incredibly important that you do not interfere. Don't even go, yeah, no, nothing. Literally, is everything okay? No, what are you talking about? It's fine. What happened? Nothing. And then you go, why are you upset? For real. And you just shut your mouth. Like, imagine just zip around your mouth. Don't do it. Throw away the key. And just look at them. Don't do anything else. Don't be like, yes, no, absolutely, I understand. It's okay. No. Don't stop. Stop messing with them. Don't interfere. You know what's going to happen? They're going to pour it all out. And it says right here, they will speak themselves into exhaustion and let the emotions die out while you calmly wait to plant the positive suggestions in their mind once their conscious mind is tired and their subconscious mind is open. So you shut up and you look at them. And they'll just, blah, blah, blah. You know what my mom said? She goes, nothing, I just thought about your dad again and that he passed away. Oh, that's nothing. That's totally nothing, Mom. You're right. So I just stood there and I said nothing. And she just brought it off. She's like, nothing. I'm just upset about your dad. Now remember, she was barking at me for something just like 5 minutes ago, eh? But that was my dad. Guys, if I had just concluded that she's a really bad mom, blah, 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 I would never have a relationship with her today. Most of your problems, guys, are you're the problem.
Absolutely.
Because now that you know how to do this and you don't do it, you're the problem. Because you can't expect your family to know the stuff. They don't watch Clear Talk. I'm serious. They don't watch Clear Talk. They don't get a coach. They don't understand this stuff. When you understand it's your responsibility to execute this stuff so that you can bring harmony in the family. And that's you doing your part. And I just sat there and she's like, nothing. It's just your dad. And I'm really upset. And I feel lonely again. And I'm like, And I said nothing. She just brought it all out. She calmed down. Then when she calmed down, I said, it's totally okay to feel this way. And I love you. And I went and hugged her. Because her conscious mind got tired. She had no energy left to fight me. Her subconscious mind became open and vulnerable. It was open to suggestions. And now her guards were down because she was exhausted. I hugged her. And then this is where you plant suggestions of hope, love, optimism, and peace of mind and gratitude in their mind. You know what I did? I sat there and she stayed quiet because she got it all out. And I said, everything happens for a reason. There were also a lot of good things when Dad was around. You can think of those too. I said, everything's fine now. Think about how happy we are. It's not the end of the world. So I just planted all these suggestions in her head. All of them. And it's all good. Hopefulness, peacefulness. And she calmed down. And the last part says here, you will gradually turn their mind over to your way of thinking and influence them into a better state. You know what happened at the end of it? She goes, okay. No, I know. And I hugged her and I kissed her and we just held each other for like 5 minutes. It's as if it never happened, the beginning of the problem. As if it never happened. You know what I realized in that moment? I'm like, damn. 9 out of 10 of your problems, guys, are complete miscommunication. It has nothing to do with the actual problem. You guys are just not waiting. You're not giving the space for the actual honest truth of what's going on to come out. If you follow these simple 8 steps, I promise you will fix most of them, not all. Some people have real messed up issues. That's different. Most of your communication relationship issues in your business with your team, in your family with your life, and with yourself, most of them will be solved. I'm going to summarize them one more time. The goal in every judging bad behavior, when someone's acting in a certain way and you want to handle it, the goal is to seek to understand why they're doing that, not to just conclude that they're doing that and judge them because of their state. That's like saying someone who's hungry in the moment is like, that's a hungry person. They're always hungry. No, they're hungry then.
Yeah.
That's like someone gets in a swimming pool, gets out their way. Like, that's a wet person. No, they're just wet now.
Major key.
You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
If your dog died and you're sad, you're not a sad person. Wow. You're just sad.
Wow.
Right now. It's a momentary thing. You understand? That's what state means. That's what emotions never are permanent. No emotions are permanent. Emotions just come and they go. Do not make decisions of how a person is based off emotional moments. Even me, I'm a very passionate person on Clear Talk. This is only 1 hour out of my 24 hours out of 1 day of my week. I'm not always like this. I'm actually messing up. My point is, if I'm a certain way on the show, you're like, Armin's always yelling and saying things. No! In fact, most of the time I'm sitting there calmly, doing nothing, making jokes, and I'm literally there like the calmest person. I'm saying nothing throughout my day. You guys think I say a lot? I say nothing throughout my day to day. I'm driving, I'm quiet. I'm at my home, I'm quiet. Unless I have to talk, I don't talk. I'm actually a really quiet person. But you're saying because I'm in this emotional state right now, you're like, Armin's always like this. No!
Yeah.
Seek to understand. Armin's on Clear Talk. Oh, he's excited. He's this. That's why he's like that. Okay? So someone judges bad behavior, 8 simple steps. Number 1, seek to understand. You guys start with the main frame. Seek to understand why they're doing this, not judging them for them doing it. Number 2, immediately detach from the situation and don't take it personal. Clear your mind. Forgive them in advance and go, they're probably doing this because something happened. And then you clear your mind to get ready to actually handle the situation. Step number 3, ask yourself first, why are they acting this way? And you think about it as they're like going off. You think about it. Fourth step. You ask them a question. Is everything okay? You wait. You don't talk for them. You shut up. Wait. Did something happen? Why are you upset? 5th step. You shut up. You shut up until they talk themselves into an abyss. And most of the time, by the way, you'd be surprised. They talk.
Yeah.
Straight. Like, they don't even wonder if you're listening anymore. They just talk. Because it's just an emotional thing. They need to get it out. You shut up and you wait until they're exhausted or they ask you a question. If they ask you a question, by the way, in the middle of it, they're not out yet, they still have energy, just go, I'm just wondering. Like, bring them back into talking again. Just bring them back to talk. Go back on them. What's the problem? Step number 6. They will speak themselves until exhaustion. Step number 7. So watch them. Step number 7, plant suggestion into their mind of hope, peace, forgiveness. Plant good ideas in their mind about themselves in the situation or about you. Be like, you know what? If you did something wrong, wait and just go, I'm really sorry. Honestly, I didn't mean to. But if you say I'm really sorry when they're still heated, they won't accept it, eh?
Yep.
What's going on here?
No, I'm just like, I'm so...
Oh, they won't accept it.
He's saying they won't.
Don't do this behind the camera, man. You can't afford to do this when you're behind the scenes. This is a really bad cue, okay? This means stop or like we're done.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of my mom, like...
This is so true, man. In most families, like, they won't accept it. If they're still heated, if they're charged, they won't accept what you're saying. They won't accept your apology. You gotta wait. You wait until they're... Now they're like... They're actually... They're so tired they don't even want to bother you anymore.
I know.
And then you go, you know, I love you. Like, I didn't mean to do that. Or, you know, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. You're going to figure this out. Plan suggestions. Step number 8, you gradually, as you do that, you'll watch them. It's really cool, man. You start watching them turn into a better state. And then they walk away feeling better. 8 simple steps on how to judge bad behavior and handle heated situations. You can use this as a leader in your team. You can use this as a leader in your home. You can use it with yourself. Sit down. What do you think I did? I sat there and I was really aggravated. I said, I'm like, why am I like this? Why am I being like this? And I went back. I'm like, is everything okay? I'm sitting in the mirror. I'm like, no, man, it's not okay. And I'm like looking at myself in the mirror. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But my point is, internally, that's what happened.
That's a course idea.
I know. It's called the Reborn Experience, man. Come on, wait off. Come on, baby. We're starting this Saturday. By the way, if you guys want to join our online Reborn Experience, we're doing an 8-week coaching program, Reborn Experience, because we can't do live events. We're going to do them later. But for everybody, you guys have an opportunity to access an online Reborn Experience where I share content like this and we just master every area of life. So really, we master fear because that's the real issue of everything. Because that person who's acting this way is wreaked with fear. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
You just got to calm down. You ask yourself these questions. You wait until you're exhausted and you go, I'm going to figure this out. This is guys, it's the same process. By the way, Usman, if you did not take notes, you don't want to be a coach, man. If you took notes, I'm proud of you. Because this is an example in real time of what you're asking me. I just did it for you. Man, you guys get value. What do you think? Like, I don't know. I just want to share that.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And what was crazy to me while you were talking is, like, I did this process, but, like, just unconsciously. And I'm trying to think back to, like, when I started doing it and, like, what was the change for me. And it was reading, in Asking It Is Given, they've got the emotional scale, right?
Yeah.
And I read Asking It Is Given. If you haven't read it.
Jerry and Esther Hicks.
Yes. I read that pretty much when I was coming out from my depression. So fun fact, part of my story is I had clinical depression for 7 years. So when I was coming out of that depressive state, one of the first books I read was Asking It Is Given. And in Asking It Is Given, there's something called the emotional...
Intensity
scale. Emotional intensity scale.
No. Is emotional guidance scale.
System. Emotional guidance system.
Something like that.
Something like that. But ultimately, they break down all of your emotions from when you're, like, super depressed or, like, angry to obviously being blissful, happy, and excited. And it was one of the first things that I learned to do to shift my thoughts around depression was to pretty much what Armin said is... I recognize that this is a state, that I am in a state, and the way that I am in this state right now, I can also get out of it just as fast, right? I can notice that on my levels or my ladder right now, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm at the base, right? And obviously I want to get to blissful, I want to get excited, I want to be happy and in flow. So I was like, you know what, I'm angry right now, so once I'm past this state, I'll be able to move to another state. Maybe I'll go from anger to, neutral. And then I'll go from neutral to... content. And then I'll go from content to happy, positive, and bliss again. So it was breaking down that kind of state and ladder of emotions that allowed me to think about, how I'm dealing with circumstances. And then next step was I started to use it on other people.
Yeah.
And it was like, I would always go to, why are they acting this way? I'm not, next logical step or the next step that Armin pointed out, detach myself. This isn't about me. It is about them. Mm-hmm. This isn't about me. It's about them. And the next thing that I would always do, and I kind of got into the habit of it, was apologize. I would always just apologize and say, you know what?
Them, yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm sorry for the role that I may have played in this. It's my fault.
Yeah.
And then subsequently say, what's going on? Like, could you tell me, like, maybe what your thoughts are, blah, 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 and, like, continue to probe. But I was thinking about it over the last week, and I was like, why do I actually apologize right away? because I ordered something from a clothing company.
Yeah.
And what I got was not what I ordered, or not what I had asked for. Yeah. Right. And then
you took that so personally.
I was like, I opened the bag and I was like, this isn't what I asked for. I was like, what's going on? So I reread our conversations and I realized there's definitely an issue in communication.
No.
Right? Like,
people actually want to hurt you in life.
I'm just saying, right? Immediately before I reacted, because I could have just reacted negatively and said, this is not what I asked for, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't. I immediately was like, hey girl, like, thank you so much. This is literally my text. Hey, thank you so much for making everything. I love it. But
it's not what I ordered.
This isn't actually what I asked for.
Really nice.
I asked for something else. And then we continue our conversation threads, blah, 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 blah. But then ultimately it just works out to, we're having one conversation, but one part is taken differently from the other person's side of things.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm like, you know what? I send a voice note when I'm done texting. And I'm like, hey, I just wanted to send you a voice note instead. I want to apologize for, how I might have miscommunicated throughout this circumstance. Ultimately, I love everything. I think that your stuff is great. And I would love to be a repeat customer. However, this isn't specifically what I asked for. And I understand that things get busy and things like that. So I just want to be able to potentially get what I asked for. So if you could let me know if this is available or not, like, that would be really great. Once again, like, thanks. And then we got into a whole conversation of voice notes back and forth. But ultimately, we both let that conversation, like, you know what? This was a mistake. This was a miscommunication. This is her first time running this type of business, let's say. And she's like, yeah, like, we need to stick together. Thank you for being so understanding and patient, blah, 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 blah. And I just looked at that circumstance and I was like, I apologize right away, even though I didn't necessarily feel like I need to. Huh?
Do you like that?
I loved it. I apologized first because I was like, did I need to apologize? Maybe not.
How does that make you feel when you apologize when you don't need to? What does that do to you?
Free. I feel free. Right. Because I've at least acknowledged, my transgression in the matter. Because on some level, I could have said something that triggered you. I don't know what's in your mind. Everybody has different experiences.
Why should you apologize for that?
Sorry?
Why should you apologize for that then?
What do you mean?
Why apologize to a person when you've done nothing wrong?
Because they may think I have done something wrong in their mind.
But that's their problem, right?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
But you can neutralize them without having to apologize, no?
What would you suggest?
Let me ask you a question. We're having a life coaching session.
Go ahead, do this.
Are you open to play?
Of course.
By the way, in our seminars, we say, are you open to play? That means, like, are you open to, like, have a coaching?
Have coaching, yeah. Let's do it.
Whenever you apologize to a person, what impression are you making on your subconscious mind? What do you tell yourself when you apologize all the time?
When I apologize for I don't apologize just in general.
No, I know. You apologize for something you've done.
I specifically will say I apologize.
What does an apology do to your subconscious mind?
It tells you made a mistake.
Okay, good. Now, doing that repetitively over and over maybe makes the other person feel comfortable because they're insecure or maybe they messed up.
Sure.
What do you teach yourself over time? That you
made a mistake.
All the time.
But if I'm framing it in a way where I'm saying, I apologize for what potentially may have come across.
Why apologize for it then?
Because it frees me from it frees me.
When is an apology appropriate? When is a real apology appropriate? Because there's times to apologize.
I would say all the time.
Okay. I know, because you're doing it.
Yeah.
I would
say, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so here's my perspective.
Yeah.
The only time you should ever apologize is when you know, deep inside, honestly with yourself, you've done something wrong. Like, I stole a car, I'm going to go to the police station, here's my sorry, find me.
Yeah.
If I was in a really bad state and I hurt your feelings, I know I did that.
Yeah.
I don't need you to suppress me. I don't need you to neutralize me. I'm going to go and be like, man, I feel terrible because I did this. Yeah. That's an apology.
True.
When I know you're in a heated state and I've done nothing or I've done maybe something or maybe even triggered you, that's still not my problem because it's triggered you.
Yeah.
I'm not the issue. Why apologize? Let me ask you a question. Can you still neutralize it and harmonize it without making yourself a mistake in the situation?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Well, have you noticed in the 8 steps there's no apology there?
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder why I didn't put apologize in there? It's not necessary.
Okay.
Not only not necessary, it's not my ego speaking. This is actually important, very deep level. What do you do to yourself when you apologize all the time?
You see, I feel like...
Please, by the way, be honest. Don't just agree. Don't apologize to me right now.
No, I'm not going to. I'm
actually let's go at this.
No,
because someone can learn something from this.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Because I don't agree with apologizing all the time.
The way that I view apologies in my life is very specific. So I will apologize specifically for a circumstance. So I will say, if I feel like I've actually had a transgression, I will apologize for the transgression.
Have you done something wrong?
Yeah, that's a transgression.
But that means you did something wrong.
If I did, yeah, I'm talking
No.
about that circumstance. And
If
then
you
I'm
didn't.
talking about if I didn't do anything
Well,
wrong
we agree
at all.
on that one.
Sure.
Okay.
If I don't do anything...
You still apologize?
Yes.
Why?
Because I apologize for my part in the breakdown.
Why?
Because
What's your part?
Because I may not be aware of what I did.
No, but then you ask, you don't apologize. You go, did I do something? And if they go, you did this, like, oh, I didn't. I still haven't apologized. I didn't mean to do that.
Do I follow up? I want to say that I follow up with, did I do something to upset you? Like I will
That's
start.
fun to ask.
I think I follow up that question with that. I say, I'm sorry. I apologize for my part in the matter. Did I do something to upset you? That might be wishful thinking now that I think about it, but it's fine because the way that I break it down, and this is just my thought process. The way that I break it down,
if you're open to play,
I'm open.
We'll assess it.
Let's assess it. So I will literally say, like, I apologize for the part that I may have played. Because one thing that I learned in, like, this is, now you're making me think back. I learned it when I started Landmark.
Yeah.
Because in Landmark, they always talk about blind spots, right?
Yeah.
There are things that you don't know, and you may be doing things that you just don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
So one of the first things was probably why I apologize and not think about anything else is because I may not be aware of what I have done to upset you. I may not be aware of it, genuinely.
Yeah.
So I will just say, I apologize for what part I played in the matter. That's one. Number two is that, maybe it's because I haven't trained my brain to think that if I'm saying sorry, I'm making a mistake. I've trained my brain that if I'm saying sorry, it's to minimize the other person. And it's just to free myself of potential guilt, potential harm,
But
blah,
at the
blah, blah.
cost of always being in an apologetic state.
But I don't think...
I'm not saying you feel bad.
I know, I don't feel bad. I feel better. I feel better.
I'm tagging my team member. Imad,
come through.
What do you think?
But those are my two things. One, it's like I may not be aware of what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
And number two, it's that it's like personally for me, it costs me nothing to say I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's one thing that I think a lot of people have a difficulty with is like, I'm sorry. I find it so hard to, say sorry to people or acknowledge that I may or may not have been wrong.
Yeah, but I want to make you aware of a potential cost.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
But yeah,
Imad has
that's
something to
it.
say.
Imad, tag in.
I was a prisoner of this whole apologize to people and let there be peace kind of a thing. But I realized it lately, like a year ago or something, that's not helpful. And my perspective is this. When you open yourself to apologize to people when you're not wrong, when you're speaking the truth, they might feel hurt. They might feel bad about it because they don't like the truth. You're opening yourself for self-doubt, detrimental to your self-esteem, and now you're ready to accept that you may be wrong even when you're not.
And what does that do to your self-confidence?
Down.
Brings it down, doesn't improve it.
So I had a simple process in like, if I believe what I'm saying is true, I will not apologize. How I will go about it though is, I may say you're right.
That is what I was going to get to. Hold on. Windshield wipers, hold on.
I do that. I
Hold
always
up.
tell other people
Saying
they're
they're right.
I learned that in sales.
is different than apologizing.
True.
That's what I'm trying to say. What
got
did I
you.
do to upset you?
I got
This.
you.
Oh, I can see why you're upset.
True.
And then I go,
True.
I'm sorry then. I didn't
Okay.
mean to do that. But if there is no logical reason why you can say why you're talking to me a certain way,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, oh, then you're right about that. I don't need to apologize. Here's. Isaiah, do you have something to say about this? I feel like you're so like in it right now. Did you used to do this? You were nodding your head when we were talking about it. I feel like everyone's dealt with this some way.
Well, I will say in response to what Imad said, I agree. I do agree. I feel
She
like
thinks she's bypassed that issue because she consciously says, no, it's because I'm a good person, I'm doing this. I get it. You have a belief that you think is altering the fact that if you're apologizing, it's because you're the bigger person, correct? Yes or no?
Yes,
You think you're
and
the bigger person.
yes, and
Yeah.
yes, and
And?
I genuinely don't feel like
You don't need to consciously feel bad. You subconsciously plant the seed of, I am making mistakes. Even if you don't know,
I
you're
don't
like,
see
did
that.
I actually? But here's the thing: you get off the call,
I don't see that manifesting
you
in
allow
my
the
life.
door of uncertainty to enter your mind because you go, did I do it? Wasn't you know? Here's the problem. Okay,
I don't think that at all.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't think that.
Have you ever apologized knowing, like going into it, like I didn't do anything, but you apologize because you know it's this is the way you think it's to do? Okay. Have you ever got off and like Be honest, even once. Tell me this. Have you ever got off and questioned, did I actually do that? Have you, yes or no? Even once. You went into it knowing for a fact you didn't do nothing, like this person just dealing with something, but then they were so convincing in the fact that you opened up your mind vulnerable, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and they go, but have you ever gotten off for even a split second and doubted, not doubted, because you are now blocking that word. What I'm saying is, you sat there and you go, did I come off that way? Even once.
I want to think back to a specific, I don't want to just...
You feel like you have?
No.
Never.
Genuinely no.
Never gone off and go, I wasn't like that.
No.
And what do you say to yourself when you get off? You go, they're just like that.
Well, it depends on who it is. It depends on the circumstance. So, for example, if I'm going off of the same example with the girl and the clothing and everything, I was like, oh, great conversation. And then I just moved on. Legit. I was like, that was so positive.
But you didn't apologize to them, though.
I did apologize to her.
Oh, okay. So, by the way, if you're watching right now, comment down below which one you think
Yeah.
that you agree
Let's
with.
open up the discussion.
Which one do you think is so let me summarize this. She's saying that she has conditioned her mind to believe, consciously and subconsciously, I'm a bigger person when I apologize all the time, no matter what, because it's just good for them. I realize that I could have done something wrong. Because I could have done something wrong that I didn't know, or I did something wrong for real. I'm saying on my side, what I'm saying is, when you apologize in a scenario where you know consciously you've done nothing, you open your subconscious to plant the seed of always, I'm doing something wrong. Because your subconscious doesn't know, no, and yes. It just knows what you're saying. So your subconscious impressions, hold on, I'm finishing the summary. The subconscious impression you give yourself is just the seed itself without whether it is yes or no. It's just mistake, again, mistake, apology. That's all it's getting from you. Not, I did it because I'm a good person. Because here's the thing, man. Not man. If you say, I apologize because I feel like I'm a bigger person, then you have a belief system supporting the fact that...
I've created that belief, yes.
Apologies means you're bigger. Now, I actually believe that. But when I apologize, unjustified apologies,
yes,
I only keep putting myself down again to like, I'm sorry. But here's the thing. Maybe that's my belief. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not even saying I'm right now at this point because it could be both ways. The summary I have is that you should only apologize when you know you've intentionally done something wrong. Intentionally. Because you're in a bad state, you justified your action, you go, I did this. I'm sorry. Other times, there's 8 steps here without any apology. You just neutralize them, you help them understand, and then you love them after. There's no, but I messed up for you again. None of that. Especially in families, if you're always saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you grow up as a person who's always putting your head down, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And every time you want to go do something and you think something might rub something wrong, you're again hesitant. Because you're like, I don't know if like I'm going to mess it up again. Or you just plant the seed of uncertainty and doubt in your mind. I agree with you, Iman. This is the same reason why I stopped. So tell me which one you think is you agree with in the comments below. Can I tell you the story on why I think this way? Yeah.
We have comments from Instagram.
Let me know what's going on.
I feel like sorry has a negative connotation to it and creates feeling of I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And then we have another comment from Simply Ashley.
Nice.
I apologize only when I truly believe I have done something
that's
to
good.
apologize for. Aside from that, I say words of understanding because I feel like that's all we can really do.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And then Uzma also says, which can cause self-doubt in your subconscious.
So he gets it. And what were you saying there?
And Facebook.
This is not against you, by the way. We're
No,
all
I'm open
conversation.
to play. I'm open to play.
Go ahead.
There's someone who would be supporting what Jeanette says.
Good. Let's hear it.
Mina says, I think it's Mina or Mena. I think this is our people pleasing as women sometimes. We always default to apologize.
Deep.
That's.
I was gonna get to that.
That's not that though.
Mina.
Let's talk.
God,
Mina, let's talk.
Mina.
Let's talk.
It's Viva Las Vegas. Mina, you're
Is that
right.
all on Facebook?
Yeah.
Hold on,
Okay.
can I say one thing?
Wait.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
What is my Instagram saying?
Alright, we have another comment from.
We're doing 2-hour
your
shows with Jeanette now.
Jeanette's Instagram.
What's up?
Hidden treasures. No, but you don't know what you're apologizing for, and that could irritate the other person more.
That's also deep, man. They might BS meter you. Like, you're sorry for what? You know what I mean? When they know they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
But you, by the way, you actually have a valid point. I'm just challenging it because I think you can do the same thing without costing even the chance of your subconscious impression.
I know.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I also used to apologize all the time. So say what you're saying. And I'm going to share a tiny story on where I had the massive epiphany. I'm like, I shouldn't do this anymore. But I'll share that. So stay tuned. What were you saying?
Yes. So along with what Mina's saying about it being a woman thing.
Hold on, I just want to acknowledge. Iman's like, this is someone I think supporting Jeanette's thing. She
And
says they're totally opposite.
It doesn't support it at all. But hey.
Anyone who agrees with Jeanette, comment right now. Comment right now if you agree with Jeanette and why you agree with Jeanette's perspective on apologizing when you know you've done nothing to another person. Go ahead.
It's not yours. Like, it's not necessarily that I know that I haven't done something wrong. It's that I'm open to the fact
that you're not right all the time.
That I'm not always right, and I don't have all the answers, and I don't know what's in somebody else's mind. So I'll just distinguish that. But in response to Mina and women and the people pleasing personality, like the people pleasing and just saying sorry. So I thought about this, and I was never that person. I was almost always growing up the person to combat what someone is saying. I would literally never apologize first. I would almost always react and hit them back with a statement, follow up, angry, blah, blah, blah.
You were that one.
I was, absolutely.
You're the person people have to apologize to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, I would like almost never apologize for circumstances because my ego was so big at that time. So it was me asking myself, you know, what actually matters to me as a person. And as I said, right, Armin said, with Armin's example, he says that, you know, you're open to the fact that you're accepting that you may be wrong and yada, yada, yada. So I understand that exists. Yes. I would say that if you want to be someone who follows my principle about saying sorry, this has got to be way later in your personal development journey. I am so certain of the fact that I know that my sorry, I've trained my mind to believe that my sorry has nothing to do with my worth, has nothing to do with my inability, yada, 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 yada. It is literally just pointing out, I don't know everything. There might be a circumstance in here that I don't see right now. So if I'm going to apologize first to release myself from the fact that I'm unaware of the pain, I'm unaware of blah, 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 and I'm unaware of how you may be dealing with it. So my sorry is, you know what? I acknowledge it. I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. That's number one. And number two is outlining, like I said, that, you know, I'm releasing myself from the issue, the circumstance, and I'm letting myself know I shouldn't take this personally. So I'm not going to say that I don't agree with what you're saying.
By the way, other end of what you're doing works because the other person is neutralized.
Sure.
I'm saying there's a cost to what you do to yourself in the process.
She's
saying it's not. There's no cost.
I'm not necessarily...
That's your stand. That's where you're standing. There's no cost to me. Is there a cost to you doing it that way?
There could be a cost I'm unaware of.
So you're doing it right now, by the way. I am disagreeing with her, and she can't even say no. I know I'm right. See that, but see that how the habit goes into other places. Like even right now, I'm causing her to doubt her own. This is really deep. I'm causing her to doubt her own certainty because I'm just standing my ground, saying no. I'm saying, can it cost you? She can't say no.
I don't think it costs. No.
My answer is... There we go. Now you're on my side of things. That's what I'm talking about.
My answer actually fundamentally is no. But I'm not saying that could be the same circumstance that works for you.
Do you see how that habit just sneaked up on you in this conversation?
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
I see it, but...
And you become an uncertain individual when you're making opinions when you know where you're standing is the right thing for you.
Yes.
So you're agreeing?
I answered that objectively, thinking about the new viewer or someone who's trying to do what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? I have gotten to a level with the process of apologies, let's say, where I don't even allow a second thought into my mind. Sure, go ahead.
Can I give an example? That's like saying...
Yeah.
I'm going to stand my ground that it's a bad habit to apologize.
Go ahead.
It's not justified. I'm going to stand my ground there. That's like saying, listen, I've gone to a level with my fitness, my health, my mental attitude, every part of my life is good. So when I have that one cigarette a day, it doesn't even affect me. I've gotten to a place where the one cigarette has nothing on my subconscious mind. Even I know I'm a healthy person because 99% of my life is good. This one cigarette is nothing. I don't even think it's bad. I feel it's a good thing because when I smoke that cigarette, I remember why I'm not smoking cigarettes and I find the benefit in it. Literally what it sounds like when you're saying this to me. It's a bad habit that you've justified as a great thing or you've masked it as, no, there's a benefit. There's a benefit in everything, Jay.
I don't think it's a bad habit. Let's talk about it.
There's a cost to smoking regardless. Even if it's slowly over 100 years, your lungs will get hurt. It doesn't matter. There's still a cost. If it doesn't happen so instantly, if you apologize 50 times a day, you would see the cost of what I'm saying faster. It's because you do it occasionally. It slowly picks up. Over time, you have this momentum of always believing you're a type of person that's willing to apologize, even when they don't need to. That apology is a normal thing for you. And when you think apology is a part of your character and your normal thing to you, and when you want to go into leadership positions and you know for a fact you got to stand your ground with something that's wrong, you can't actually combat the wave of the person's opinions and stand your ground and neutralize them in a very much protective way. Meaning you got to protect them from the problem. Mm-hmm. But if you can't stand up to it, like even right now, you can't stand up with your own opinion with me. there's a problem. Your backbone gets a little flexible, and you think I think you put the wrong meaning behind it, which is because I'm a bigger person. No, bigger person means you can accept you were wrong. That's fine. That doesn't mean I can apologize. I don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
I can accept I was wrong. I could also accept that this is not a personal thing to me, and I can still have you say whatever you want about me with me being okay with myself. Yeah. Do you understand how vital that is to your self-esteem? If you allow yourself to always be, it's not a, by the way, I'm saying it's not a bigger person to always apologize. In the scenario where you're wrong, it is a very important thing to do to go apologize.
Yeah.
When you are not, and by the way, I agree with you from the past ways I used to think, because I think in my family, no one apologized to anyone. So I used to be the first one to go up and say, I'm sorry. And very well I knew in my mind, I did nothing wrong. And even if I did a little bit wrong, it was nowhere near to what they did wrong.
Yeah.
And I always walked away feeling like shortchanged because I'm like, why am I the one always apologizing to you? What are you going to take responsibility for?
That's so interesting.
And I walked away with low self-esteem. Now in my real life with other people, I would doubt myself in situations. Let me tell you the story on where I had this epiphany. I was sitting in a seminar with Think and Grow Rich. Everything is like, Satish has changed my life. I would say this publicly, I would say this everywhere. Satish Verma, the president of Think and Grow Rich, has changed my life. Every single time I've learned something from him, it has changed. Like, the apex of my life is like different. I remember sitting down and he was talking about how someone kept someone was telling a story about he always like apologizing, and they're like, now an extreme version of what you're doing is people who are always like hesitant. Do you know those people?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. These people. That's an extreme version of what you're doing. By
Sure. Yeah.
You're doing light version of it.
Super.
You're doing a very light version, a controllable version.
Yeah.
But the extreme version of that habit is, oh, I'm sorry, and he goes like this. He goes, stop apologizing. Because if you apologize, he did this in front of everyone. He goes, stop apologizing. You did nothing wrong. And even though he was not affected and they didn't do anything, why is this person in this like, I'm sorry? And he goes, stop apologizing. You did nothing wrong. Hold your head up. And I remember watching this. I'm like, as I'm watching this, I'm having my own flashbacks. Like, I always am the person who apologizes as well, even when it's unjustified and not necessary. I just do it just in case. And I thought it was a good thing, and I realized on a deep fear level, and I agree with Mina, it's because I wanted to please people. I was afraid of their criticism and their opinions of me, and I was afraid, like, to hurt people, and so I was so delicate with people. And I was so delicate to the point where I made myself a very, what's the word? Not vulnerable person. You know those, like...
Cautious?
No. Frail.
Okay.
Frail. I became a very frail person.
Yeah.
In situations where people were heated. And it wasn't until I saw how Satish handled the situation where I knew he was right and the person was doing something terribly unintegrable in the seminar. I saw an example of what it looks like to neutralize the situation, being the bigger person without having to put your self-esteem under the ground and saying, I'm sorry. And a speaker, and I learned this in speaker never apologizes. This is also a deep speaking lesson, okay? You never apologize from the stage. If you did something wrong, totally. I'm not saying, once again, if you did something intentionally wrong, you insulted someone, you apologize.
Yeah.
One time I said a story and I brought up racial thing. I wasn't racist. I just brought up ethnicities, and this one person got offense from it. I stood there and I didn't apologize till the end. Because the first thing I did was I asked them, like, why are you upset? How come this triggered you? I assessed the situation with them, and then when I realized it's really just their own triggers and nothing I did wrong, I didn't intentionally hurt them. Remember that?
I
You
remember.
were there. He gave the mic to the enemy, you know. Okay? He gave the life source to her so that she can do this with this commotion in front of my audience with me. And at the end of it, I said, are we going to allow a small issue get between us to show everyone in this audience what humanity is lacking? Or are we going to be strong and we're going to hug each other at the end of it? She says, do you want a hug? I'm like, yes. And she came and hugged me. And when she sat down, I said, by the way, I did learn from this lesson. I do apologize because I realized I could tell stories without bringing up ethnicities and not having to almost risk offending someone. But did I do something wrong in that situation? No. I didn't sit there and go, I'm going to offend these people. No. So I didn't allow it to become an idea in my mind that I do stuff like this. So when I apologized, I accept that they were right about what I was doing. That wasn't even what I was doing. I give the wrong idea to my subconscious. And I saw Satish handle someone in a very strong way, and I'm like, that's inspiring. He goes, okay, I'm just human. He says, I'm just human. I'm not perfect. I'm figuring this out, just like you. And he did it so well. Like, it was so, like, gentle. And the person, like, neutralized. They go, yeah, I know. No one apologized, by the way. They both walked away with their dignity without having to put themselves below the other person. And let me tell you something. Apologies is when you bring yourself lower than another person on an egotistical level. And your ego must be healthy to some degree. I'm not saying life should be this way.
Yeah.
But your ego must stay healthy. And your ego staying healthy is that you never put yourself below other people. Only when you have genuinely done something, an act of breaking the law or something where you know, you've consciously decided to put yourself below the morality of a human. Then you go and you apologize to bring yourself back up to neutral level. But not when there's no justification for it, and not when there's obviously no appropriate reason why to do it. So I realized I did this, and you know what it did? It changed my effing life. It changed the way I do everything. You know why? I realized in my business, I was afraid to handle clients that were taking advantage of me. I was afraid to handle people that were liars. I was afraid to handle them. Why? Because they were liars. You're not considering the scenario where the other person just genuinely taking advantage of you, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, it's okay. You're not considering that part, that they're still getting away with doing something wrong. You're not. You're considering that it's always maybe your part. It's not always maybe your part, Jay. Sometimes it's genuinely because they are doing something wrong.
But I don't care.
I know you don't care. I'm not saying I care about that too. But when you do that, you let them get away with the wrong habit.
Okay.
You understand?
I do.
When you put your foot against the wave learns not to go that way.
But do you think it's your responsibility to be
I am not changing them. I'm making sure I stand true in integrity.
Okay.
They will adjust based on my personality. And here's what I mean by that. If I'm always a person who's willing to waver and flex because I'm like, it's okay. Even if it's good intention, like she's saying, and I agree with how she thought about it. But even then, this person doesn't go in terms of a brick wall and hits their face so that they realize, oh, I'm doing something. I'm treating someone bad here. Think about this. The person's upset. We just went through 8 steps on how to understand a person. Well, don't you think that person has a habit of doing that? You're just the first person willing to intelligently maneuver around it. But what about in the rest of their life? They're not going to find people like you willing to sit there and shut up and ask questions. So what are they going to learn going back? That you were just the one random situation where they apologized and I was right. But they walk away in their conscious mind knowing I just did this thing, I treated this person poorly, and they apologized. Then they feel worse. You didn't do them a favor. You actually made it worse. Because then they go back, and if they want to do it with someone else, nobody stood their ground against them. I've seen adults apologize to kids that genuinely, they came and slapped the person in the face. I'm like, you're teaching that kid growing up that it's okay to slap people in the face, and that's not being a bigger person, Jay. You're looking at the person like, you know it's wrong to slap people in the face. They don't like it. And what I've done is I stood my ground. Let me tell you something with kids. I've had my fair share of experience with kids. I've had young nephews, and I also was in a relationship with kids, and I discipline them sometimes. You know how I discipline them? When they would do something wrong, spit this, and they would do it. Maybe they didn't even know it's wrong, by the way, because someone, listen to me carefully, because whoever they did it to first, did not stand their ground and tell them, this is not something you should do. So they learned the lesson that it's okay. True or false?
True.
So later on, when they do it to someone like me, and I'm like, dude, you can't spit in my face and walk away. Because in life, you do that to the wrong person, you'll get killed. So this is like a 3-year-old kid. I pick him up, and I look at him in the eye. He tries to, because they know they did something wrong, but they don't. But no one taught them the lesson. And they're sitting there like this. And I hold them, and they start crying. They cry because they're under pressure. And I just look at them. And I'm so calm. I didn't apologize. I'm sorry you spit in my face. No. I'm looking at them straight in the eyes. I'm like, calm down. They go like this, and I hold them. I just hold them. And now I do use a little bit of pressure. Why? Because I need to break their pattern. They're in a flow state of emotion. And they're kids, right? Like, they don't know what's going on. So I hold them. And I go, you don't spit in someone's face. And I kiss their face. I go, you kiss. I go, see this? It's bad. Ugh. And I make faces because they don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I go, ugh, and I go like this. I look at the spit. I go, and then they hug me because they know I'm crying. So they get the lesson, man. They hug me. They go, oh, Armin's crying. We hurt his feelings because we spit in his face. Right? That's the problem. Later on, when they're about to think of spitting in that person's face, they go, oh, Armin cried. No. Now, they grow up. They learn the wrong lessons. I learned the hard way, Jay. In situations when I over-apologize or apologize without any just cause, the person is getting away with wrong lessons in their mind. And I'm not a bigger person because listen to how bad this double-edged sword is.
Yeah,
I put in my subconscious mind that I did something wrong. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think consciously. Your subconscious records with no filter. It doesn't go, no, guys, Jay's telling us this was a good thing. No. Your subconscious goes, apology. Recorded. I'm sorry, recorded. It just gets your feeling, and your feeling is you're trying to figure out why you did something wrong with a person. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're like, I feel great.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the verbal planted suggestion is in your mind still. Still is, to some degree. And over time, it builds up like a bad habit. 1 cigarette a day turns into cancer. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's all it is. It turns into cancer eventually. You're in a situation where you need to stand your ground and you can't because you didn't learn that lesson. By the way, you're not thinking about the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is this. You might be a bigger person walking away always feeling like you apologize first. What's the opportunity cost? The opportunity cost is what would be the opposite you would have had if you learned to do the other thing. What if you learned how to stand your ground in situations and go, no, genuinely, I'm trying to figure out why you're upset. I don't know if I did anything wrong. Did I? And you question them, did I? And they can't figure it out. Man, think about this. If you ask, did I do something wrong? They're going to be like, If they did nothing wrong, if you did nothing wrong, they have nothing to say. Then you go, so are you okay? See, you don't put yourself in the wrong position every time just because you think it's a bigger person.
Sure, yeah.
So you plant your own mind. I'm a seed of doubt. Apologizing is never a seed of confidence. Stop. There's no way. This makes no logical sense. Apologizing to someone means you have done something wrong. End of story. You plant in your subconscious mind, I did something wrong. Even if it's sincere or not sincere, I don't care. I don't care what you... Listen, I've studied the subconscious mind for 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
And the other double-edged sword is they walk away when they know they did something wrong with zero lesson from you. Because you were not willing to stand there and go, is everything okay? Did I upset you or is something upsetting you? That is an assessment of their situation, not I'm the reason for your cause again. And I'm doing this because I'm exaggerating because that's what it feels like to me.
Sure, go ahead.
I learned the hard way. You know what happened when I started to put my foot down? First of all, I felt a lot better at night because I go into bed knowing I'm a good person, man. You know why I'm a good person? Not because I lack of apologies I give, because I rarely do things to have to apologize for.
True.
You can't ever know what that feels like if you're always apologizing. Because you can't sleep at night going, now, it's just such a deep conversation.
It is.
The only response you have here is on such a deep level you say, you've convinced yourself that when you apologize, it doesn't mean that, it means this. That's the only thing you say. But everything else still holds true.
No, I understand. And
So it's like, maybe it's a way of doing things.
Potentially.
But it's like, is there a better way?
Yeah.
Okay, so the better way should, if you could do better, you should.
Do better. So...
We have comments from Instagram?
Yeah, let's hear
This is from Hidden Treasure again.
I need a towel.
This is Judy. This is Judy.
Judy?
Her name is
That's-
Judy. Not Judy, not that Judy.
So we have a comment from Miss Judy. It's what I've always said. Find out why someone is offended or angry to figure out if an apology is necessary.
Yeah.
And then she also came back again with a comment. She said, "You must teach people how to treat you and what acceptably and not, and be the bigger person by telling them what they did wrong."
Absolutely.
We also have another comment from your Instagram from Mr. Gary. Mr. Gary
Gary
said,
V? What's up, Gary?
Mr. Gary said, you guys do sharp, which means he's giving you guys a comment. You guys are doing
Awesome.
very well.
Awesome. So
Just doing our best.
I will follow up by saying...
Is anyone on Jeanette's thing? Because I feel like I've ruffled the Jeanette.
No, that was
Yeah.
Judy.
That was from... Oh, okay. Good.
So,
I have you.
Anyone on my Facebook then?
That was Gary.
Oh, okay.
so I will...
We're time remaining again. How much time is it left?
We have 13 seconds.
13 seconds!
We've actually gone 2 hours.
We'll be back.
Oh my god.
No, we're going to be back. Hit it up. Listen, we got to finish it strong, guys.
We
We'll be
do,
right
we
back.
do,
If you
we
enjoyed
do,
this,
we
get
do.
back on. I don't care. This will be the longest show in
see
history.
you guys, we'll see
I'm
you guys
sweating.
in a second.
I am sweating. But honestly, someone needs to hear that.
It's true. You're right.
We just people are being freed from the prisons of their mind right now as we speak. Just stop it and start a new one, man.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Facebook or Instagram?
This is Instagram.
Yeah, stop it and start a new one.
Yeah.
I need some of your water, Jay.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna waterfall just for the. I'm shaking. I'm sorry, I'm shaking.
No, you're
I'm not sorry. By the way, specifically.
Let's do it.
Oh, zoom in first. I got a lot of energy running through
Yeah,
me.
you're rocking. I like
Oh,
it.
never mind. You're gonna have to see it.
Okay, go.
I
Yeah.
gotta take a deep breath. I gotta meditate. I'm gonna do a quick 10-second meditation.
Facebook is still with us.
Oh, Facebook, you're always gonna see behind the scenes, okay?
Okay, we're back. Yeah, you
This is
got
like a
it.
heated.
Camera, flip
This
the
is like a
camera,
heated
there
round
you
in the
go.
Hunger Games.
It's not. We're on the same page. We're on the
No,
same
not
page.
between us. I'm saying the narrators of the show.
Oh, yes.
Of the Hunger Games show. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, comment down below if you're liking the show. If you got a breakthrough, comment
Yeah,
down
let
below.
us know your thoughts.
Let's wrap it up now. So please go back. I said a lot, and I want to hear what you're.
Yeah, awesome. So I love this. I love this because it's real time. Like
It's real talk.
this
for
is
that.
real.
Clear
Hey,
talk.
what? Love it. But okay. So let me reiterate. The apology is step 1, but it's not the end. So the following conversation thread is going through the line of questions. So what's actually happening? What's going on? Blah blah blah. Tell me how you feel. Right. And that is a part of the process. Now, though, you definitely are maybe opening up my blind spot, or let's say
With the help of the audience.
With the
'cause
help
so
of the
far,
audience,
you guys
yeah.
are saying some really intelligent
you guys
stuff.
are coaching me right now, and
Like,
I
I
like
could have
it.
been wrong with this opinion, but your feedback on the
No,
comments is making me realize
exactly.
like so other people understand what I'm saying. here.
Absolutely. And you always, one thing about, being a coach, entrepreneur, all of the above, you got to be teachable, right?
Yeah.
Be a teachable person, be open to other people's perspectives and what they have to say that maybe could provide or enlighten you in your own journey. So, because it's interesting because now I'm like, you know, maybe there is a time where you did doubt the circumstance or you did second guess, and I'm thinking back on it and I'm like, you know, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean I'm not experiencing it. So I'm actually gonna challenge myself for the rest of the week, this Clear Talk week, to not apologize first.
See what happens to you.
And I'm gonna see what happens.
Next show,
I'm
we'll
gonna
get you
see
back
how
with the
I
updates.
feel, and I'm gonna let you guys know.
I respect you so much for that. I can't
Absolutely,
wait to hear your updates.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, and every single person in the office.
You know what? I'm gonna do the opposite. For the rest of this week, I'm gonna apologize in every circumstance to see how I feel too.
But Bear, I don't like.
No, that's what you do.
I'm saying.
Listen, don't make it sugarcoated.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I apologize first when I am approached with a circumstance. 9 times I don't. It's not like every day I'm having disagreements.
I'm gonna apologize more than I usually do.
Sure.
You don't apologize.
And
at all.
let's see what happens.
I'll give you a
this
thorough
week.
report next week.
Everybody, pinkies up.
Promise.
Let's do it.
All right,
I'm
okay.
amped. But thank you everybody for your feedback. I love it. I appreciate it. I need comments to see if anybody's actually on my side because now no one knows it. Just kidding. Let's hear your opinions. Let's hear what you have
By
to say
the way,
about the circumstance.
If you stood true with what you're thinking is right, then at the end of all of that I said, you would say, my bad for miscommunicating. Let me reiterate what I just said. Because, again, you're coming back to making sure you're understood and that you're sorry and you did it right because it was your fault, not me. What if my opinion was totally wrong?
This is not a...
No, but it counts in every scenario. What if my opinion was totally wrong?
Well, why would I say
If
sorry?
you subscribe to what I was saying,
Yeah.
and not just my opinion, I'm like most people's I'm saying,
Yeah.
then your response after all of that passionate ranting I just did, it would be like, I still believe what I do is the right way. That is an example of what I'm saying, actually.
I do still believe what I do is the right way. But I'm open to trying it your way. I actually do. No, guys, straight up, I still believe what I'm doing is the right thing.
You're right, but I'm right.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I believe what I do is right, but I'm open to
Take a
experimenting.
picture, Isaiah. It's the
Is
next
this the thumbnail?
It's the next mindset UFC fight for next week.
Is this
Yeah,
the
you
thumbnail?
should- that should be the
Comment
thumbnail.
from Usman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. That should be the picture.
Will be like 5.
Go ahead.
We have a comment from Usman. Usman said that could you just summarize the whole sorry thing?
Sure,
Just,
yeah.
like, put it in like a beautiful box.
I'll say it as
Absolutely.
short as possible.
Go ahead.
There's 2 ways of handling situations. One is that you take the initiative to always apologize first before the other person so that you can be the bigger person, give them the right of way of saying, you're right, I was wrong, and then assessing the situation to come out of it with an agreement. That is the way she is saying to do things. Yes?
I mean, I would go further to say that the
Go ahead.
apology is to neutralize. In
I
addition,
just said that.
Did you say neutralize?
Yeah, to give them the right of way that they're wrong, that you're right, they're right, and you're wrong.
I mean,
so that
sure.
you can assess the situation after without
Sure.
their ego saying, I'm right.
And without my own ego as well.
Right, so you're trying to eliminate egos
Yes.
in it by giving them the torch and saying, it's you, not me, you and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you figure out afterwards.
Yes.
And then what I'm saying is you can do the assessment part after, which is figuring out what's wrong with them and understanding them without saying I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's the only difference. I'm saying that I can still go and be like, why are you upset? Instead of saying, listen, I'm wrong, you're right, or I apologize if I did something to offend you. What is wrong? I'm just saying doing that step plants a subconscious seed in your mind of uncertainty in yourself that you're always the one making mistakes. And she's saying, no, I've conditioned my mind to not be able to think that while doing it. That's the summary.
I would love to get the exact dictionary definition of the word sorry, though.
Lauren, could you do it?
Lauren, let
Or
me know.
apology.
We have,
Not sorry.
We have another comment from Sad, and I think you
Yeah, let me see
might
it.
love it. He said, this is from sad.cave.mohammed. He
Amen.
said, how do you truly start the journey of learning where you have to know that you know nothing and not just saying it, but truly believing it?
Empty your mind. Empty your mind. Empty your mind. Be like water. Yeah, you empty your mind by just telling yourself, I know nothing yet. And then okay, I'll give you an example quickly before you do this. You know when you're a kid, you play pretend with your toys and you pretend it's real? You know they're not real, but you're pretending it's real. You're using creative imagination. You're playing and you're, okay? Use that same power of imagination and pretend you know nothing. Very deep. Go ahead.
One thing that
Yeah, sorry.
you can teach yourself to always say, Armin says it. Well,
I'm just getting started. I'm just learning.
I'm just starting out.
I haven't even started yet.
Haven't even started yet.
That's a humbling thing
You
for
should
me.
see when I actually start.
Yeah, like I'm like, this is all practice. So I keep reminding myself, no matter how good I get, I haven't even started yet. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. What's apology?
Okay.
Speak for that.
Yeah, apology is a regretful acknowledgement of an offense or failure. Sorry is feeling distress, especially through sympathy with someone else's misfortune.
Exactly. Not the
Sympathy?
same, but it's not the same thing.
Hold on, you're gonna disacknowledge all
Read
the
it
other parts
again,
of this
read
and
it
go,
again,
it's
read it
sympathy.
again.
Sorry or apology?
Sorry.
Sorry? Okay. Feeling distress, especially through sympathy with someone else's misfortune.
So let me get this straight. That means you get stressed by taking on their issue as well and saying, I'm so sorry.
I don't accept
By the way,
stress.
that's not the right one. Apology is the right one because sorry means when someone says, I just lost my father, you go, I'm sorry. That's not what you're talking about. We're talking about apologies. It's different. Sorry means you're acknowledging something bad happened, so you're sharing the sympathy. That's not what we're talking about.
But that is my
No.
that is my
There's
apology.
You say
a
in-
definition.
What?
There's a deeper definition.
Go ahead.
Please.
It says an apology is an expression of regret or remorse for actions, while
what I'm talking about.
apologizing is the act of expressing regret or remorse.
All of it is around you done something wrong. Listen,
mean,
you're. By the way,
I'm
I'm
gonna
trying to save
try
your
your
life.
way and we can see.
I'm trying to, because I love you. I'm trying to save your future life. All I'm trying to say is, don't misrepresent the meaning
Sure.
of apologizing with being a bigger person.
Sure.
I'm saying disconnect those two.
Yeah.
Because all I'm saying is let go of the apology part unless you genuinely intentionally did something wrong, and you would know. You would feel terrible and guilty.
Let's try this puppy out.
And what you should do instead is just always be the bigger person by not getting personal, offended, or losing your temper. That's how you become a bigger person. In a situation, you go, it's okay.
I am going to engage in the process the same way I always do. I will just omit apology and the word sorry.
But still
and I'm
follow
gonna
everything
see.
else.
I'm still
Because
following.
like I said,
everything
I'm
else.
sitting there and I'm like, how do you judge a bad situation? This is obviously, this
Yeah.
8 steps is obviously for only people who have done nothing and the other person's upset.
Absolutely.
So that specifically is only for situations where you've done nothing. You're like,
Yeah,
what did I
yeah,
do?
yeah.
But they're being bad to you.
Yeah.
I am not saying that applies. The non-apology applies to places where you've done something.
Yeah,
yourself.
we're in agreement.
Past that?
there.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
We have another comment
Let's get it.
from Instagram. This is also from Saad.
Saudi.
Saad said, when you wait, there's so many comments.
Crazy show. It's crazy.
But
2
not
hours.
Pretend, so you say that, but not pretend, but actually believe it.
Yeah,
I get
pretending
that, but
leads
the
to
ego still kicks in.
No. Pretending leads to believing. You haven't done it long enough to understand what I'm saying. Pretending leads to believing. You have to faith it till you make it. Not fake it. Faith it till you make it. Faithing it means you genuinely pretend and act as if, and then you eventually say, sorry, I just wanted to exaggerate to look weird. If you ever want to understand what I'm saying, honestly just study an actor's life.
Yeah.
The Joker killed himself because he had to get so in pretend mode that he is the Joker to play the role he did in the movie, which he did a great job in, that he uncontrollably let it go into reality in his real life, and he killed himself because
Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yeah. The movie Inception is actually a really good what I mean about this, because Leo's wife dies because she was planted with the idea, right, that the real life is just their sleep, and if they kill themselves, they wake up in the real life. So she kills herself, so deep. And he's like, no, that's not reality. This is this. So you lose sense of reality when you start to play with imagination and pretend. So be careful, is what I'm saying. You don't need to be afraid of that. Let's just say that Napoleon started to feel like he's crazy because he would have imaginary masterminds with people that are dead, and he felt like it was really real to the point where he would wake up in the middle of the night and see like Abraham Lincoln by his bed talking to him. And he would go back to bed, and he would wake up in the morning and go, did I dream that, or was that real? So we never know, because your imagination feels so real.
Yeah.
You don't know the difference. And really, if you think about it, in a dream, it's just all of your senses being activated, but in a dream world. It's no different than your imagination. How do you think some people can sit there, close their eyes, and really like taste water? And so what I'm saying is, if you pretend, which is just another way of saying to imagine, not knowing anything, being empty, being a student, being like, I don't know much, and really realizing your mind is empty. Like, even imagine your mind being full of water and then taking your head off and like in front of you, pouring it out and putting it back on. Like, pretend that happened, and you will actually open your eyes and go, I know nothing. Which is a little bit of the science of neuro-linguistic programming, which is you planting those ideas in your subconscious by doing things imaginary through visualization. It gets your brain to respond to it in the same way if it was real.
Yeah.
So do it long enough for it to become belief.
Absolutely.
And for Sad, like I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're teaching me something, I might already know it.
Yeah.
But I always tell myself there's more to learn. Maybe there's an angle that you know that I don't know. So and then I just keep my head, like I go blank and I just want to listen to everything you're saying.
Yes.
And then as soon as I'm done, I analyze and see, do I really agree with this? So it helps you a lot.
Like, actually have a pretend library in your head, and every time you're about to learn something, like, hit the delete button, like, hit the pause button, put it aside, and then when you've learned it, come back and take it out and assess it in your mind. Like, close your eyes and be like,
This is super NLP.
super.
Even
It's not
when
just
you get a
NLP.
person-
Honestly, it's NLP is just what they framed it. Like, this is an ancient way of doing things.
Yes.
Your brain has the ability to visualize. Yeah, Imad?
Yeah, just on the same topic, Saad. First of all, hi, Assalamu alaikum, whatever it is.
It's your bro.
yeah.
Also, go to askarmin.com, man.
Yeah.
These questions on Instagram, but I love it.
Like I had an exam like just the last week.
Yeah.
And the first part of the exam is listening, and that's the most difficult part because if you have any thought in your mind, you already missed the answer. Yeah. Right? You can't have thoughts in your mind. So I was like, what do I do now? So I had like 2 minutes to prepare for the exam, 2 or 5 minutes. So I'm sitting there, I'm literally imagining a cup inside my brain. And I opened a cap here, right here, in the center of my head. And everything's
pointing
flowing
here
out.
for people who can't see.
Yeah. And it's flowing out. And
It's a waterfall.
Right, exactly. It was so funny, but I was like, no, you know what? I have to do this. I have to empty my cup. Literally like from the 2012 movie. I did that, and after some time, I'm like, no, there's still a couple of thoughts there. So I sent a couple of mini Imads to clean the cup.
This is so deep. Little Imads are like that. And they like rode in with their like unicorns.
Go,
and they saw
go.
killing all the thoughts.
We gotta clear the way.
Did it work? Hold on, did it work?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because immediately I had no thoughts anymore.
Listen, we're selling mini emods in bulk right now. If you're looking for deleting bad thoughts in your mind, we'll give you a bulk of mini emods on little white unicorns, and they will fly into your mind and eliminate all bad thoughts.
Oh,
Yeah, but it did work.
Wholesaling at $34.99. Buy it at Walmart and Zellers near you. Sorry. I got that. Go ahead and finish it.
No, that was it though.
Yeah.
But it is possible. That's what I'm saying because I
Yeah.
practically just did it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just kind of watched it. I just
Do you want to know
like,
one sentence that sums this all up? It's the first day of Reborn, man. Your mind does not know the difference between real and imaginary. As soon as you understand that and you just get that, you sit on it and go, wow. That means no matter what you do with your mind, it's going to respond as if it's real. And here's the problem. Most of you use this negatively.
Yeah.
You let fear and worry and things that are stupid in your mind become real, instead of using it the opposite way, where everything good and optimistic and great that could happen is what you're responding to.
Yeah.
That is, in essence, by the way, why you need to personally develop yourself, because if you change your thinking and your beliefs, then your mind's going to respond to good things that are not real, that become real in real life. Yes.
You have another comment from Uzman. Uzman said,
You guys decided to get engaged
Yeah, like-
2 hours, 2.5 hours, and where were you an hour ago?
I was like, we gotta wrap up.
Uzman is like, what if you truly believe in your heart that you did nothing wrong, but the person believes that you did something wrong? What do you do at that moment?
That's fine. Like I said,
Do you
you follow
accept
the steps I
apology?
just said.
Yeah,
You follow. Oh, he's talking about like where two people have different perspectives on what happened.
that's just
Because
natural.
then it's like between you two. I'm saying the 8 steps still will work, by the way.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I'm actually giving you a deeper answer to this. Even the 8 steps where you ask them what happened, maybe nothing happened like yesterday. They actually just have a prejudice against you. Here's the difference in that scenario.
Racket. Ooh.
It's a racket and landmark. Here's the difference in that scenario. It's still not personal. It's not you. You know why? Because you're just triggering a past memory of theirs. So what I mean by that, if you follow these same steps, instead of saying, is everything okay, did something happen, you could say, what is this reminding you of? That's another question you could ask. And I actually ask that. When someone's pissed and I know nothing happened, they're like, no, I'm fine. It's been a great week and you're just doing this. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm like, listen, I could be wrong. I say that, by the way. I don't say I apologize. I say, I could be wrong. I still don't say I'm wrong. I say I could be wrong.
Okay.
That's how I do. I go, I could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
Has this happened before? When is the last time you dealt with something like this? And you know what happens? They go back into their memory when they were 10 years old and this person treated them a certain way. I reminded them of that. So I only triggered them again. It's the same problem. It's their triggers, not me.
Yeah.
So even on the deepest level, man, everyone's problems are actually with themselves. It's not with anyone else. On the deepest level, it's because they, like a positive kid who grew up in conditioned to think positively will never be offended, which means they can never be offended. Doesn't mean matter what you do to them. But if someone who's been offended before will remember that offense in a certain way or different forms later in the future. And that's what causes them to be mad at other people unjustly.
Yeah.
That was like the deepest, it's one of the most intelligent, deep things. I didn't even say that, man. It just flowed through me. See, when we passed the 2 hour mark, I think something just comes through. You know?
True.
Like I just said that, I'm like, I heard myself saying it, I'm like, whoa.
But that's the key, right? That's like the major key to everything happening. And like the matrix is opening up for you to see that, 9 times out of 10 it's someone's history, their personal transgression, their trigger, and it absolutely has nothing to do with
What's
you.
that Kung Fu Panda scene where Uguay's like, it is time for me to go. And he like flows away. It's like, da-na-na. That's what I just felt like for a moment.
It was that, yeah, absolutely.
By the way, if you want to watch, if you want real mindset lessons, go watch Kung Fu Panda. I'm not even kidding. Let me finish with this, man. Can we finish with something? Can I finish?
Yeah, let's finish.
No more questions. Ask it at AskArmin.com. We'll answer it next week's. And we're not going to go past an hour this time. So if you want to get your questions answered, go to AskArmin.com. I'll finish it with this, man. One time I had a man, 35-year-old man. He wanted to work with our team. He was recommended to me by someone. I called him. And this guy's like, yo, he's really smart. He can do well. I'm like, great. He's looking to intern somewhere. I'm like, sure, let's work with the guy. So I call him, and he picks up, and we're talking a little bit. And I remember this so vividly. It was such a weird memory. And I think I've kept it away subconsciously that happened, so I can bring it up now. That's what I feel like. It was like 2 months ago, a month ago. I'm driving. I was behind the light, and I'm hearing him talk in my car. He goes, yeah, I just want to do this. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions. I'm sorry, but, this is what I want to do. But, like, I'm sorry if I'm not making... I'm like, whoa, God. I'm like, stop. I just stopped him. He's like, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm sorry. He kept saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, hey, stop. And I literally said in one calm statement, I said, every time you apologize to me, you chip away at your self-esteem. Stop it. That's all I said. And he calmed down. I said, you have nothing to apologize for. I'm fine. Stop apologizing. Just get to your point. And I realized, and he goes, okay. He didn't say I'm sorry again. He goes, okay. And I'm like, the guy actually got what I meant. Because if he said, okay, I'm sorry I did that, he didn't get the point.
Yes.
He goes, okay. And then he went, and by the way, right after, he spoke so smoothly, so confidently. Because I removed the fear of criticism from his mind. I removed the fear of doing something wrong and fear failure with me. Because he was under pressure. I was talking to him about hiring him. I removed that fear out of his mind. Guess what happened? He became very calm, very poised, and he handled the call very well. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that stuck out to me and it's kept in my memory. But I feel like that right there came through me. I didn't think about that. It came through me, and that was a lesson I wanted to learn, and I think I need to share with others. Every time you apologize, you chip away at your self-esteem. You need to stop apologizing in your life. Don't apologize to yourself. Don't apologize to others. Don't apologize for anything. If you are a good person inside, your self-esteem is strong, your confidence is strong in yourself, and you know you're not doing things wrong to hurt anybody, stop apologizing. Every time you do, you teach yourself again, you're someone who's wrong, and you're doing wrong things, and you're not enough, and you're messing up, and there's something wrong with you. Just be integrable enough and honest enough to accept responsibility when things have gone wrong on your part. And everything else, you allow the person to help themselves in situations where they think you're the problem. You have to allow them to learn how to take care of themselves. If you rob them from that by always apologizing and taking responsibility, then they never learn how to develop themselves to a person that also knows what that feels like to take responsibility, because for you to say sorry, they can't. Most of the time, they don't. And if they do, that means they actually know the principle well. But most of the time, people don't. And in leadership, this question might arise, then how do you, in leadership principles, always take responsibility? Yes, in your mind. You don't need to tell the person all the time you're sorry about something. And by the way, taking responsibility doesn't mean necessarily you apologize. It just means I did this wrong thing. I still don't need to apologize, eh?
True.
Did you notice that?
I am noticing.
I could say, oh my God, I've been like this. I've been in bad states in the last 2 months because of the whole reason why I said. And I call people on the phone for companies, and I'm so rude. I catch myself being rude to the person on the phone because I'm just in an irritated state trying to get what I need done. And the person, when they're nice back to me, even though I'm like that, I stop and I go, hey man, it's not you. I'm just in a bad state. And he goes, no, don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm like, no, seriously. I don't mean to speak to you this. I still didn't apologize. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I still was able to get that across without apologizing.
Yeah,
the apology is what's bringing my self-esteem down. Like, sure. I did something wrong again.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, dude, I don't mean to speak to you this way. Thank you for helping me out. I really appreciate it. I'm just in a bad state. And he goes, no problem, man. And that felt good for both of us. Because I also make the other person uncomfortable when they know I've done nothing wrong, or maybe they have, or whatever, and I have to apologize. It's just so much low self-confidence issues. I caught myself and I just say, I accept responsibility.
Yeah. Now,
if I say, I apologize, you're implying, please forgive me. I want you to understand that. When you apologize, you're never. And by the way, if you're doing it without "please forgive me," then you're actually just selfishly apologizing. So it defeats the purpose. But if you apologize, you're implying "please forgive me" because I'm apologizing. I've done something wrong.
I'm gonna listen to the voice note.
And you know when you ask for forgiveness all the time, which is what you're doing by apologizing,
Sure.
you're always putting yourself down, man. Always putting yourself down because you're like, oh, I hope they forgive me. You know what? Hope nothing. If you have an issue with my situation, I did something wrong. I accept that. How could I make the... You know what a good apology? Yeah, I'm about to change it up. You want to know how to really apologize?
I asked that.
How do you make a better apology? You ready?
I asked that.
I'm going to tell you.
I know.
You ask them one question. Don't apologize. You ask them one question. Hey, man, I'm so... you can say I'm sorry, whatever. I don't care. Maybe you say, I just spoke to you wrong. You know what? If you apologize, at least do this. How can I make things right?
That's a part of the follow-up questions.
I'm just saying. I know this.
Absolutely.
Skip to that part, and your subconscious mind will
yeah, like, let's do it.
I'm here. I am a lawyer. I am on behalf of your subconscious mind. I am here on the defense with the plaintiff here, who has been offended for the last couple of years. Because, by the way, you want me to really wrap this up on a deep level? Because it's my job. This is what I do. I analyze situations. I come up with very educated, intelligent conclusions of why people are certain ways. I'm not always right about it. Most of the time I am. Check this out.
Go ahead.
You grew up where you were always never like that. Always hardcore, respond, rude. Because that's where you grew up. That's the way you were.
Absolutely.
Your initial solution to that was to become completely opposite.
The opposite. Yes. That's where it started.
Which is still wrong. Because you're on an extreme on both sides. Nothing in the extreme is good for you. Jay, there is a beautiful middle ground where you can have no ego in a situation, neutralize the person, help them out without putting yourself down below them. There is a middle ground. You went from I'm never wrong to I'm always wrong. Now I make it sound like that. I know you're like, no, I feel good.
No, yeah.
Just understand, I exaggerate things to make my point better.
He is, yes.
I'm not saying that's how you sound. I'm saying,
understand.
like, it's really this. I'm never wrong to, I'm sorry, how can I make this better? That's really what you sound.
That is.
But there's a middle ground where you go, what's the problem?
Yeah.
And, you go from the victim or the prey in that situation or the weaker individual from, and I'm not saying it's weakness to apologize, by the way.
Yeah.
Please don't twist my words. I'm saying you go from that to the coach. You go to the bigger real person.
Yeah.
What's the situation? Oh, I did that? Oh, and it's all miscommunication. So I apologize for miscommunication, by the way. That's called miscommunication for a reason.
Yeah.
They go, you said this thing and I was offended. I go, oh, that's not what I meant. What I meant was this. They go, oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we good now? Yeah. Okay, cool. Can I make it better in any way? I don't need to apologize to you. If there's any moral of this whole episode, it's this. Don't make this the title. Because I know that's how you work. I'm going to give you a really good title for this. What is it? Sorry. I got you. Hold on. You ready? If there's any moral to this whole lesson is
Go
this.
ahead, yeah.
And she can disagree, but we're going to know a week from now. Apologies are only justified when you've intentionally done something wrong. In every other scenario, it chips away at your self-esteem. End of story. And I stand by that no matter what. And I grew my self-confidence and my self-certainty and all my core has grown since I've learned this lesson, by the way. So I'm a living example of what I'm trying to tell you is the benefit of it.
Sure.
I'm not saying based off theory. I'm telling you what happened to me.
Yeah, of course.
And so did Iman, so did Mina, so did everybody else on the show, so did Isaiah. So let me know when you recruit one person in your small army.
I'll be the only person on my army. That's okay.
That's good. That's what I'm talking about.
You have a breakthrough.
What's that?
From Usman.
Let's hear it.
Just got a breakthrough. He's like, I feel like I've just gotten a breakthrough.
Something came out of you?
Something came out of
It is our pleasure to coach you through Facebook Live or Instagram Live. Go ahead.
Breakthrough.
What's the breakthrough?
No, that's it. That's all he said. Yeah.
Oh, you got a breakthrough? Okay.
Keep it to yourself. Share it next week. Let's wrap up.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell so you can get more awesome content just like this. If you're on Facebook, hit that share button and click that like or heart. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what was the main part of what you got out of this entire debate, coaching, clear talk, storytelling episode. And if you're on Instagram, send this to someone's DM so they can get blessed today with your episode. We love you so much. And thank you for coming to Clear Talk, the #1 show for entrepreneurs who need clarity. You can ask your questions at AskArmy.com. We'll answer them live every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Go on and make the rest of your week the best of your week.